Chapter 1384. Why? Li Tianba asked with his eyes wide open. It's not that easy to marry a woman from the Yi family, Qing Emperor said. Father said that as long as I like it, it's fine. He will only give advice and not interfere with my decisions. I don't have such plans yet, but I will respect his advice, Yi Qingyan said with a smile. Father has done well, Lord of Precious Fragrance said. After Night Sorrow returned to the Nine Heavens Army's encampment, he chatted with the generals for a while before going to the God-slaying team's encampment. They were now under Wu Jia's command. They were free of charge for a long time. 13th brother, you're too impressive, Tianyu said. I saw that you're a king, but I was too busy to congratulate you. Very good. You and Yi Mei are both good, Night Sorrow said. Yi Mei and Tianyu were both one-star king. Yi Mei nodded, but she didn't seem to be in a good mood. While everyone was drinking and chatting, Yi Mei revealed some things under Yi Shang's questioning. She was a reincarnated soul. She was a nine-tailed fox in her previous life. In her previous life, there was a war and the nine-tailed fox clan was destroyed. She was defeated and died. Her soul entered the spacetime turbulence and coincidentally came to the Nine Regions world to be reincarnated. Where are you from? We'll kill whoever killed you. Night Sorrow said. 13th brother, let's talk about this later. It's not the right time yet, Yi Mei said. What about you, Tianyu? After reaching the king's realm, did you get any information about your clan? Night Sorrow looked at Tianyu. Yes, but it's very melodramatic in the secular world. My father is a prince of the Green Rock clan and my mother is a Black Phoenix. Because they didn't approve, my parents were chased out of their respective clans and were even hunted down. They threw me into the Nine Regions world to grow up. It's that simple, Tianyu said. Hunted down. Is there any news? Night Sorrow asked anxiously. Don't worry, my memories are still sealed, but I can sense that my parents are safe and sound, Tianyu said. Tianyu, Yi Mei, since you two call me Brother 13, then you are my younger brother and sister. If you have any problems, come and find me, Night Sorrow said. Tianyu and Yi Mei nodded. They knew how Night Sorrow felt about them. After leaving the God-slaying team, Night Sorrow went to the main tent and took out the military intelligence map. After taking a look, he decided to choose Marshall's Sacred Hall for the next battle. It was a battle of massacre. The behavior and style of the Marshall's Sacred Palace was completely different from the Heavenly Moon Pavilion. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion was fighting for the Shenwu Great World. They were fighting for the dignity of the Shenwu Great World. They only wanted to win and nothing else. However, the Marshall's Sacred Palace was not. They came for the sake of massacre. Their goal was not pure. Moreover, they would kill after conquering the territory. Jun Xuanji and the other generals also came to the main tent. They wanted to know Night Sorrow's plan. The battle of the Marshall's Sacred Palace should be in the Red Emperor's country. The Shenwu Great World knows that the Eastern District is the core of our reincarnation Great World. Therefore, all the armies are targeting this area, Jun Xuanji said. Then let's take care of them, Night Sorrow said. The most difficult person to deal with in the Marshall's Sacred Palace is Sha Chongtian. However, this guy is different. He doesn't care about the matters of the army and doesn't command the battle. He only fights with our sovereigns at the beginning of the battle. After winning, he will leave. After that, he has nothing to do with us, Nu Lin said. I understand. He is a martial artist. After defeating him, he will have nothing to do with us. I will deal with this, Night Sorrow said. After that, the Nine Heavens army moved again. They arrived at the border city of the Red Emperor's country, Red Origin City. The overlords of the reincarnation Great World also arrived at Red Origin City. This was the place where the battle would change. Feather Lord, Qing Yen, have you seen your father in battle? Datura asked. No. Father has always been busy. We have been cultivating and training ourselves, Qing Yen said. Today, you will be able to witness your father's massacre, Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Knight Sorrow brewed a pot of tea in the main tent. According to his estimation, the Marshal's Sacred Palace's army would arrive in the afternoon. The generals were also in the main tent, drinking tea and waiting for the battle. The main tent was made from the leather of the Black Mountain Cow. The Black Mountain Cow was a huge demonic beast. Its body was hundreds of feet long. Therefore, it was easy to make a tent that was hundreds of feet wide. Junior brother Qing Lin and Qing Luan entered the main tent. Senior brother and senior sister, why are you here? Knight Sorrow stood up and invited them to sit down. Why are you here? Recently, our army has been bullied to the point that we can't fight. We have been suppressed greatly. So, we came to watch you fight, Qing Lin said with a smile. All right. The battle will probably start in the afternoon, Knight Sorrow said. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion left the reincarnation great world. Junior brother, you took down a top faction in one battle, Qing Luan said. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He then explained the reason. The top factions that joined later were only fighting for the realm war. They were different from the Zhanwu dynasty, Marshal's Sacred Palace, and Poison King Valley. For the top factions that fought for the realm war, if they lost, they lost. They could admit defeat. If they lost, they would return. However, the Zhanwu dynasty, Marshal's Sacred Palace, and Poison King Valley were different. They fought for their own interests and grudges. They would not give up until they could no longer hold on. Marshal's Sacred Palace sent 3 armies. Currently, the strongest is the Marshal's Sacred Palace army. That's because they have the Marshal's Sacred Palace general, Sha Chongtian. After defeating Sha Chongtian, the Marshal's Sacred Palace army won't have anything to worry about. Jun Xuanji handed Knight Sorrow the information about the Marshal's Sacred Palace army. Today, I'm not just going to defeat Sha Chongtian. I'm going to destroy the Marshal's Sacred Palace army. They are bloodthirsty. Let's kill them back, Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow did not want to kill. However, there were times when he had to stop killing with killing. In the afternoon, the Marshal's Sacred Palace's Marshal's Sacred Palace army arrived. There were 6 armies. The 7 legions of the 9 Heavens Legion were arranged in 7 square formations. The Marshal's Sacred Palace army was very strong because of Sha Chongtian. As long as the sovereign won the battle and defeated or killed the enemy's commander and general, the remaining soldiers would not have much combat power. This was also the reason why the Marshal's Sacred Palace army could keep attacking cities. The commander of the Marshal's Sacred Palace army was a man in silver armor. Beside him was a burly man in black armor with a saber on his back. He was the Marshal's Sacred Palace's lord, Sha Chongtian. Knight Sorrow left the command tent and rode the ice Qilin to the front of the army. Sha Chongtian's body flashed and landed a mile away from Knight Sorrow. I heard that Knight Sorrow of the Qing Emperor's dynasty defeated the Qing Yi Marquis. I, Sha Chongtian, will try. Sha Chongtian pulled out the saber on his back with his right hand. Knight Sorrow's right hand shook and the sky splitter appeared in his hand. His body flashed twice and rushed in front of Sha Chongtian. He waved his hand and used the void extreme kill. Knight Sorrow did not intend to be polite today. He wanted to get rid of Sha Chongtian first and then destroy the Marshal's Sacred Palace army. Knight Sorrow wanted to tell the world that the world of Samsara was not a place where anyone could attack. If they attacked, they would have to pay the price. Speak. Second update. Chapter 1385. Sha Chongtian waved his saber at Knight Sorrow. He already knew that Lin Qingyi was defeated and that there was an invincible monarch in the world of samsara. Sha Chongtian had his own analysis of strength. He was similar to Lin Qingyi, but he was good at different things. Lin Qingyi's style was light and flexible, while his style was bold and domineering. Their weapons clashed, and then they were separated by the recoil. Yi Shang retreated a few feet, and Sha Chongtian retreated even further. Strong power. Sha Chongtian's power was much stronger than Lin Qingyi's. His attribute was similar to Sandalwood's, which was evil spirit with dark intent. Evil spirit was a branch of the destruction attribute. Sandalwood was a blood evil spirit, which was actually a fire evil spirit. Sha Chongtian was a dark evil spirit. After the first collision, they had a better understanding of each other's strength and attack strength. Then they continued to fight. Knight Sorrow was very confident. So what if black evil spirit had an attribute? It was a branch of the destruction attribute, but it was a branch after all. It was only between the advanced attribute and the supreme attribute. It could not be compared with the supreme attribute. As they fought, Knight Sorrow found that Sha Chongtian had also cultivated his body. Although he was not as strong as himself, he was much stronger than ordinary practitioners. After several rounds of probing, Knight Sorrow immediately used his killer move, Death Annihilation / followed by Soul Annihilation / and Crescent Moon Blade. It's time. The battle is about to end. After testing his strength, Knight Sorrow will not fight with him anymore, Qing Emperor said. In fact, after testing Sha Chongtian's strength, Knight Sorrow did not want to waste more time. He wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. After the black light of death destruction cut appeared, Sha Chongtian knew something was wrong. He growled and a black light appeared on his head and body. After Knight Sorrow's great death annihilation / enveloped Sha Chongtian, the black light on his body spread out in all directions to resist this soul attack. Although it blocked the soul attack, it still affected time and space. Sha Chongtian's movement slowed down. At this time, Knight Sorrow's space splitting also came to him. Sha Chongtian's reaction was slow, so he only managed to avoid being hit in the head, but his body was pierced through by the space splitter. With his body heavily injured, Sha Chongtian let out a low roar and swept his battle saber towards Yi Shan. Knight Sorrow retreated, dodging the saber light attack. He then used afterimage body. His real body and afterimage rushed forward, surrounding Sha Chongtian. His real body arrived behind Sha Chongtian and used Great Emperor Samsara / Feeling the danger again, Sha Chongtian's body exploded with a bang, turning into a black fog, spreading in all directions. You are very strong. I have lost. I accept my loss wholeheartedly. I will go back and cultivate. I will come back to find you for another round in the future. A voice came from the black fog. Next, the black fog dispersed. This is the baleful chi body of the destruction branch. The price of using this move is similar to dying. The only difference is that the soul is intact, Sandalwood said. He also cultivated the destruction branch, so he knew very well. What are the levels of father and his opponent? Spatial cracks kept appearing during the battle, as if they were going to destroy everything, Yi Qingyan said in surprise. Later, Master Granny will tell you that the army war is about to begin, Misty Rain said. Divine Temple Army, you have been killing and plundering in the world of samsara. Today, we will not be polite. 9 Heavens Army, I am invincible. Kill. Knight Sorrow waved the space splitter and attacked the commander of the Divine Temple Army. The commander of the Divine Temple Army was dumbfounded. The battle between Knight Sorrow and Sha Chongtian was too fast. The army had just gained a foothold, and the battle was already over. Sha Chongtian was defeated, thoroughly defeated. The members of the Marshal's Sacred Hall knew very well what kind of person Sha Chongtian was. He was the strongest person under the martial sacred hall's sky pillar and had the record of killing a sovereign king. However, he was defeated now. Even if he was defeated, no one could deny Sha Chongtian's strength and ability. While the commander of the Divine Temple army was still in a daze, Night Sorrow appeared in front of him and used the space splitter with the Great Emperor reincarnation slash. Night Sorrow knew very well that Sha Chongtian and the commander of the Divine Temple army were the two most important people. One was brave, the other was wise. Sha Chongtian was famous for his bravery, and could kill the experts of the Divine Temple army. The commander of the Divine Temple army was the core of the army. With the Great Emperor reincarnation slash, Night Sorrow sent the commander of the Divine Temple army flying and chopped off one of his arms. Then, Night Sorrow used the space splitter with the death-shattering slash, killing the commander of the Divine Temple army. 2 moves, Night Sorrow killed the commander of the Divine Temple army in just 2 moves. After Night Sorrow took the Legion commander's storage ring with his left hand, he charged into the ranks of the Divine Hall Legion and started killing. Night Sorrow did not fight blindly. He chose the toughest opponents and killed the opponent's monarch. If the opponent did not have a monarch, the Nine Heavens army would have no pressure. The only authentic version, the others were all. It was the pirated version. The strongest warrior of the Divine Temple army, Sha Chongtian, was defeated. The commander of the Divine Temple army was killed, and a few monarchs died in the hands of Night Sorrow. The soldiers of the Nine Heavens army were in high spirits. The 7 armies surrounded the Divine Temple army and started to kill them. The atmosphere was completely opposite. Night Sorrow's battle effect destroyed the enemy's morale and raised the Nine Heavens army's battle intent. Therefore, the battle strength of the two sides was completely different. The members of the Divine Temple army were killed continuously. Some of them had already knelt on the ground and raised their weapons to surrender. The Divine Temple army that once suppressed all the armies of the reincarnation world is nothing in front of Night Sorrow, said the precious fragrance Heaven Lord. It was a one-sided massacre. The core of the Divine Temple army was killed, and there was no commander left. They were scattered like sand. After fighting for 2 hours, except for a portion that escaped, most of the Divine Temple army was killed. This was a battle of annihilation. Since the beginning of the Realm War, both sides had victories and losses. The Shinwu Great World had occupied a large territory, but they had not been able to destroy any army. Now that Night Sorrow had returned and led the Nine Heavens army to battle, the Divine Temple army was heavily injured and almost completely destroyed. It could be said that the Divine Temple army was destroyed. After the battle ended, Night Sorrow checked the losses and cleaned up the battlefield. He flew to the top of the city gate. "Father, thank you for your hard work. Have some tea." Yi Qingyan poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. "Night Sorrow, well done. The Divine Temple army is destroyed. They were the most rampant before, but now they have been destroyed," said the Red Emperor. "Not bad. The 2 battles with the Sky Moon army and the Divine Temple army will probably make the Shinwu Great World behave," said Night Sorrow. "What do you plan to do next?" asked the Qing Emperor. He looked at Night Sorrow and asked. "Wait here. I will lead the Nine Heavens army to set up camp here. If they can't take us down, they won't be able to continue the battle, so they will definitely attack," said Night Sorrow after drinking a mouthful of water. "Speak. The 3rd update has arrived. There will be an explosion today. The update will be released at 3 in the afternoon, 7 in the afternoon, and 9 in the evening. Thank you for unblocking the 2 numbers. Chapter 1386. That was the truth. What they were fighting for now was momentum. Yi Shang had led the Nine Heaven army to take down the Sky Moon army and the Divine Temple army. This was to tell the 2 worlds that they were stronger than them. If they wanted to win the Realm War, they had to defeat them first. "I'll stay here with the Nine Heavens army. Come." This was what Night Sorrow meant. Then what if their entire army comes? Red Emperor asked. That's simple. Our army will come as well. Now, everyone better follow the plan. Otherwise, I won't be polite. I'm also good at crooked methods, Knight Sorrow said as he took a sip of tea. Then inform all the armies to reinforce Scarlet Origin City at any time, Qing Emperor said. After communicating with the Heaven Masters present, Knight Sorrow returned to the camp. Nu Lin, how are our losses? Knight Sorrow asked. There aren't many losses. Our 9 Heavens army has been fighting, and our combined attacks are very effective. There are some injuries, but very few deaths, Nu Lin reported. That's good. We'll set up camp here and wait for them to come and kill us, Knight Sorrow said. Nu Lin and the others nodded. They understood Knight Sorrow's thoughts. At this time, the news of Knight Sorrow's 2 victories had already spread. The morale of the realm of reincarnation was soaring. At the Thunder Cliff, Heaven Lord Shin who had also called for a meeting. The Sky Moon Pavilion isn't very brave. They retreated after being defeated once. Now, let's not talk about our losses. The main thing is that our morale has dropped. We have to fight back, Heaven Lord Shin who said. #C*original+L chapter. Heaven Lord Shin who wore a golden battle armor. His golden hair draped behind his head, and his eyes shone with an ominous light. He was a mutated beast, the heaven-devouring tiger. He had always been able to fight above his level. However, this time, he hadn't been able to defeat Datura. He had a very strong reputation in the Shinwu Great World. Even those who weren't part of the Martial War Alliance didn't dare to provoke him. He was overbearing and unreasonable. We have to destroy Knight Sorrow and the 9 Heavens army. Only then can we advance, Heaven Lord Shinhu said. Heaven Lord Shinhu, Knight Sorrow, and the 9 Heavens army are camped in Scarlet Origin City. Our sovereigns and armies will charge over there and crush them. Martial God Shiyang said. He was furious because Sha Chongtian was the disciple of the Martial God Palace's palace master. He had invited him out, but now he was heavily injured. Tiger. Flying. Heaven Lord. That was the truth. After Knight Sorrow defeated the Marquis of Light and Sha Chongtian, his original body cultivating in the Samsara Palace had benefited. He had benefited twice, and each time, his light of merit had become more exuberant. Knight Sorrow had the foundation of the body of merit, which was different from the others. Others who participated in the realm war only had merit for the world of Samsara, but it was not merit. The only benefit was the blessing of fate. However, Knight Sorrow had the blessing of the light of merit. Knight Sorrow's doppelganger also had a change. His original body didn't feel anything, but Knight Sorrow's doppelganger felt very strong. This result made Knight Sorrow very happy. If this continued, his light of virtue in the world of reincarnation would also level up. He would become a light of virtue saint. Knight Sorrow was a light of virtue saint in the 9 domains world, but not in the world of reincarnation. If he was a light of virtue saint in the world of reincarnation, then he would be very powerful. Knight Sorrow knew that the light of virtue saint was not the end of the light of virtue body. The light of virtue body was the lowest level after cultivating the heart and virtue. Next was the light of virtue saint, light of virtue supreme saint, and light of virtue heaven lord. At the level of light of virtue supreme saint, it didn't belong to a certain world. It belonged to the entire great thousand world. It wasn't the recognition of the world's origin, but the recognition of the great thousand world's heavenly Tao. Even if the light of virtue saint didn't have cultivation, he was still a king among saints. Even without cultivation, saints and saint kings were no match for him. The light of virtue supreme saint was equivalent to the same level as the king and the monarch. His words were the law. His words were the will and rules of the heavenly Tao. The light of virtue heaven lord was a level beyond the level of cultivation. Cultivating one's heart and morals usually started from a young age. Night Sorrow started from the 9 regions world, and then he started from the 9 firmament world, and now the reincarnation great world. Night Sorrow felt that it was about time. With one more light of virtue, he would be able to become a saint in the world of reincarnation. At this time, in the backyard of Scarlet Origin City's City Lord Mansion, Yi Qing Yen brewed some tea. "Mistress, can you tell us about my father's situation? We don't know, and we don't understand. He's too good of a son and daughter." "Then are you ready? Let me tell you about the world. A low-level world uses a high-level world as its core. A group of high-level worlds forms a world group. The core of a high-level world group is a great world. Our world group uses the reincarnation great world as its core. Your father is the fastest cultivator in the reincarnation great world for countless years," said Heavenly Monarch Yufei. "Ah! The most outstanding cultivator in the world of reincarnation for countless years." Yi Yujun was dumbfounded. "Yes. In the history of the world of reincarnation, the fastest cultivator to become a king was 300 years. The fastest cultivator to become a monarch was 130,000 years. Do you know how old your father is now?" Qing Emperor asked with a smile. 130 years. But with time acceleration, he can cultivate faster. Yi Qing Yen said. Time acceleration is a rule, a space-time rule. It has nothing to do with one's age in the real world. In other words, your father became a monarch in 130 years. Also, he cultivated the body of virtue and virtue. Now, do you understand what it means to help your father? Qing Emperor smiled at Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan. Father is a monarch. He's at the same level as Monarch Xian Tian of the mysterious sky world and Monarch Shen Shao of the 9 cloud world. Yi Qingyan was astonished. Don't judge it like that. It's not the same thing. Monarch Xian Tian and Monarch Shen Shao are stronger, but they're only at the middle level of monarchs. Your father can kill high-level monarchs as easily as taking something out of his pocket. The man in black armor today is the monarch of the martial sacred palace. He's known as the invincible monarch. You saw the result of his battle with your father. Qing Emperor said with a smile. Night Sorrow was not only the pride of his children, but also the pride of his master. Father is so powerful now, but why doesn't he tell us? Yi Qingyan whispered. Your father doesn't have it easy. He doesn't tell you because he doesn't want you to bear the pressure. Said. Fourth Watch. Chapter 1387. Yes. Because your father thinks that as long as he does well, you will have a stable sky and an environment where you can live in peace. He doesn't want you to feel pressured, Misty Rain said. Father's life is too hard. In order to have the right to speak in this world, one has to be a leader. Father has to suffer, Yi Qingyan murmured. Her heart ached for her father. Ha! Right to speak. Your father already has it. Your father has an undefeated record against leaders. Qing Emperor, Misty Rain, let me bring these 2 kids to have dinner with their father. Let's go together. Datura said after entering the courtyard. Qing Emperor and Misty Rain nodded. Datura arranged a banquet in the tent of the military camp. Qing Lin and Qing Yuan were there as well. Have you 2 mobilized the army? The war might break out at any time, Qing Emperor asked as he looked at his children. Qing Emperor only sat down after getting an affirmative answer. During dinner, everyone chatted casually. Qing Yuan told Qing Yan and Yujun about Night Sorrow's past, as they were more interested in Night Sorrow's past. Night Sorrow stopped her, but Qing Emperor felt that it was necessary to tell his children so that they could understand some things. Father, you're so amazing. Why didn't you tell us? Yi Qingyan, who was sitting beside Night Sorrow, said with tears in her eyes. All along, she and Yi Yujun had thought that everything was fine with their father being the Imperial Highness of the Azure Emperor Empire. However, the truth was that there were too many difficulties behind the scenes. Now, they understood how many hardships there were behind the imposing figure who could carry the sky. Don't think too much. Just be yourselves. Seeing that you two are doing well, any effort I put in is worth it. Night Sorrow patted Yi Qingyan's shoulder. Look at what little Jay said. After the banquet was over, Qing Emperor and Misty Rain left with Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan. It wasn't appropriate for them to stay in the barracks because they didn't know when a battle would break out. Night Sorrow took out the 9 heavy armor and planned to repair it. The 9 heavy armor was damaged during the battle with Hu Shao and the other 2 sovereigns. Over the past few years, he had been imprisoned by Datura Chinensis. His dantian was sealed, so he could not repair the 9 heavy armor. He felt that in 2 or 3 days, the Shenwu Great World would mobilize troops. There would not be any war, so he took the time to fix it. Before, Wu Lingfei had given him the Golden Phoenix soft armor. For a period of time, he couldn't use it because Wu Lingfei's life treasure as a Saint King couldn't support King's battle. Now that Wu Lingfei was king, the Golden Phoenix soft armor's level naturally increased. This was because Night Sorrow, who was already an advanced heavenly master blacksmith, was capable of repairing a monarch weapon. King weapons were divided into beginner king weapons, intermediate king weapons, and advanced king weapons. Monarch weapons were actually top king weapons. The weapons and armor used by heaven masters were also at this level. Night Sorrow used half a day to repair the 9 heavy armor. Then, Night Sorrow sensed his own situation. With the increase in light of virtue, his soul defense had become stronger. It could be said that he was immune to some soul attacks. Cultivators' fatal injuries usually came from 2 places, the soul and the body. Now, Night Sorrow felt that he had no problems with both. His body's toughness was at the peak of the Star Monarch rank. With the support of the power of Desolates, even monarchs and high-level monarchs couldn't pierce through his body. As for soul defense, Night Sorrow had the 9-region origin pearl. It was a treasure that protected the soul. Outside of the deity ocean, there was also light of virtue. This was his defense. Of course, there were many factors that determined the outcome of a battle, such as speed, strength, elemental restriction, and the power of absolute skills. Night Sorrow was organizing what he had learned every day. Nu Lin and the others were still training the soldiers. The main focus was on formation attack. With formation attack, both offense and defense could be combined. One day, when Night Sorrow was trying to guide the light of virtue into his body to cultivate, Sandalwood came with 2 jars of wine. "Junior brother, I'm here," Sandalwood said after entering the tent. "Senior brother, take a seat." "I've been busy recently, so I haven't had the chance to talk to you," Night Sorrow greeted him. "I know you're busy, so I came to give you wine. I feel that there are gains and losses in life. I've always wanted to fight side by side with you. Of course, it's worth celebrating that you've become a Sky Master, but I've lost the opportunity, haven't I?" Sandalwood said. "There will be another chance. I can't fight at a lower level. Besides, the Monarch realm isn't the end of my cultivation," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "That's right. When you become a Sky Master, we'll fight side by side. We can go anywhere in the world. We'll kill anyone who disagrees," Sandalwood said with a smile. This was Sandalwood's dominance. "You're right, senior brother." Night Sorrow nodded. After opening the jar and drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, Sandalwood asked Night Sorrow what would happen next. "Senior apprentice brother, the main thing is to watch my battle with Prince Zhanhu. If I defeat him, then they will either cease their banners and cease their drums and engage in small-scale harassment battles, or they will erupt into a battle of the highest level." Night Sorrow spoke of his own feelings and judgment. Junior brother, you can fight Mandala Shura without losing. This shows your strength. No matter how strong Prince Shanhu is, he can't win against a Sky Master, right? That's why I have confidence in you. Also, the world of samsara isn't afraid of the Sky Master. So what? The Dark Dominator can suppress him. As for the other Sky Masters, I can kill whoever I want. They know the difference in strength, so they won't do it easily. We have fewer Sky Masters, but Origin Tao Heavenly Lord can fight at any time. He sent a letter to Master, so he can send a message whenever he's needed. He's also a powerful Sky Master, Sandalwood said. Just as Night Sorrow and Sandalwood were talking, Jun Xuanji entered the tent. Commander, there's someone outside the camp. It's the commander of the Yuanchu army. That's a guest. I'll go and welcome him. Night Sorrow stood up. Night Sorrow had interacted with Origin Tao Heavenly Lord before, and he had the map to Origin Tao Heavenly Lord. Therefore, he had a good impression of Origin Tao Heavenly Lord. Outside the camp, Night Sorrow saw a man in golden armor. Yufeng greets Your Highness Night Sorrow. The man in golden armor cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. Commander Yufeng, you're too courteous. Please come in. Night Sorrow invited the man in golden armor, who was Yufeng, into the main tent. Yufeng greets Lord Blood Emperor. Yufeng immediately bowed when he saw Sandalwood. Although Blood Emperor Sandalwood was a newly ascended Heavenly Lord, he was already a mainstay of the world of samsara. No need to be so courteous. I used to be a commander of an army. I happen to have some wine. Come, let's drink. Sandalwood nodded at Yufeng. Alright, Yufeng, tell me why you're here. It's like this, Master has already sent a message for Yufeng to listen to Your Highness orders. Even if the entire army is wiped out, we can't go against Your Highness orders, Yufeng said. Why would the Heavenly Lord make such an arrangement? Night Sorrow was stunned. Speak. Here's the 5th update. There are thousands of people reading books every day, but less than 1,000 people log in to read books. If you don't log in, you won't be able to sign in or rub elbows. How can there be data for becoming a god through 10,000 paths? I'm working very hard. I don't need everyone's financial support. I just need to do my best. If you like becoming a god through 10,000 paths, you have to do something. I'm an author, so I'll do my best. Brothers and sisters, please move your fingers. Log in, sign in, and rub elbows. The next update will be at 5 p.m. Chapter 1388. There must be a reason for Master's arrangement. I'll just carry it out. Besides, I'm excited to be able to fight alongside His Highness. It's been too stressful recently. We monarchs can't beat them and the army can't fight. Although we're not afraid of death, we can't let our soldiers die for nothing, said Yufeng. We're all leaders. It's our duty to cherish our soldiers. They're all brothers. I understand. Come, let's drink. Night Sorrow took out 2 jars of wine. Night Sorrow drank all the wine he had in the Blackwater space. However, there was still some in Sky City and Aoi gave him some. After drinking, Yufeng went to gather the army. All the armies in the world of samsara were gathering in Red Origin City. Yufeng is quite capable. He managed the Yuanchu army well. The strongest army is the 9 Heaven Army, followed by the Demon Blood Army and Yuanchu Army. Yufeng's fighting ability is weaker, but he's good at staying alive. Many monarchs were killed by Prince Shanhu, but he managed to stay alive under Prince Shanhu's attack. This is enough to show that he's not ordinary, said Sandalwood. Night Sorrow wasn't around for a few years, so he didn't know much. However, Sandalwood knew everything. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. It's fine as long as they're outstanding. Night Sorrow nodded. Junior brother, it's up to you now, said Sandalwood. My battle with Prince Shan, who might be the turning point of the realm war. If we can defeat him, Shenwu Great World won't be able to do much in the world of samsara. Then, it's time for us to strike. They've been attacking us for 5 or 6 years. It's time for us to fight back, said Night Sorrow. Fight back. Yes, we have to fight back. It's not in our nature to be passive. We have to fight back. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sandalwood was excited. He stood up and waved his arms. Then, he sighed and sat down. Night Sorrow asked in confusion. So what if he's a Sky Master? I feel that even if he's a monarch, it's good enough that he can fight side by side with his brothers, Sandalwood said. He knew that there weren't many occasions when Sky Masters fought against each other. After all, the implications were too great. Senior brother, there's no rush. We have time to fight side by side. Night Sorrow understood Sandalwood. Sandalwood was a casual person. Soon after, Datura entered the tent. He wasn't surprised to see Sandalwood. Because Night Sorrow cared about Night Sorrow's feelings, she got along well with Qing Emperor, Misty Rain, and Sandalwood. Lord Ruler, you're here. Have a seat, Sandalwood greeted. Blood Emperor, you can call me whatever you call Chuyu and the others. Datura cupped his hands towards Shan Tan. That's not good. Sandalwood shook her head. Although they were Sky Masters at the same level now, Datura had suppressed a region for countless years. He should be considered a senior. There's nothing bad about it. Night Sorrow, this is all the information on Prince Shan Hu. You defeated Qing Yi Marquis and Sha Chong Tian. Prince Shan Hu and the others must have studied you. You should know more about them too, Datura said as he sat down. And, thank you for your hard work, Night Sorrow said with a smile. You're too polite with me. Also, Yao Shua and Sha Shua will report to you tomorrow. The Sha Shua army and Devil Blood army will be under your command, Datura threw out another sentence. Is that appropriate? I can lead the 9 Heavens army and fight against them. Night Sorrow looked away from the materials and looked at Datura. What are you thinking? It's not because you're my husband. It's because the army needs your command. Do you think I'm living off you? Can you stop joking? Datura said with a smile. Ha! I have to hand it to the two of you. What level are you at? Why are you still talking about living off me? Sandalwood couldn't help but laugh. All right then. The war is imminent. It'll be much more convenient to have a few armies to work with me. If the 9 Heavens army fights alone, we'll suffer great losses. I won't be able to rest easy. Night Sorrow nodded. In fact, he was worried. If it weren't for the many armies working together, the 9 Heavens army wouldn't be able to hold on. Even if they could, they would suffer great losses. Those were his brothers. After Sandalwood left, Datura and Night Sorrow chatted for a while before leaving as well. Night Sorrow started cultivating. His current body was the indestructible body. He planned to create his own technique and cultivate the true indestructible golden body. The first level of the Myriad Tao treasured tome was the indestructible body, also known as the indestructible golden body. Actually, it was not the golden body. The golden body of merit was the real golden body. Therefore, he planned to integrate the light of merit into his body. That way, when combined with the Myriad Tao treasured tome, he would have the real indestructible golden body. Night Sorrow tried to drive the golden light of virtue into his body. Slowly, it worked with the power of desolates to circulate throughout his body. After cultivating the 8 trigrams of virtue, Night Sorrow gained some insights. However, he felt that it wasn't enough. The golden light of virtue could only protect his spirit sea. If he wanted to protect his body, it wasn't enough. Look at the original version. Chapter Super Night Sorrow stood up and cultivated an array outside the tent. At this moment, someone came in. Yao Shui, Shi Shui, Akatsuki, Yu Feng, and another person, Chiu He, was the commander of the Sima army in the Sima residence. The commanders of the various armies in the world of Samsara had all arrived. They had all received instructions from their leaders to listen to Night Sorrow's orders. Brothers, I won't be polite. Everyone, prepare for battle. Commander Yu Feng, lead the Yuanchu army and Nine Heavens army to face the enemy head-on. The Sky Heart army and Sima army will be on the left. The Bloodthirsty army and Black Demon army will be on the right. Night Sorrow said. Sir, don't be like this. What will the Yao Shui army do then? We are very strong. The Yao Shui army commander, who looked like a gentleman, was a little anxious because there was no mission for them. Of course there is a mission. I know the Yao Shui army. The soldiers of the Yao Shui army have all cultivated the wind travel technique. They are the fastest. If there are any changes, you will cut off the enemy's retreat. Night Sorrow looked at the Yao Shui army and said. Okay. The mission will be completed. The Yao Shui army said. Xuanji, take out the formation diagrams for the combined attack. Give the formation diagrams for the 3-person and 4-person combined attacks to the commanders. The Dark Abyss army has cultivated these 2 formations before, so give them the 5-person combined attack formation diagrams. Let them cultivate as much as they can in the next 2 days, Yi Shang said to Jun Xuanji. Okay. Jun Xuanji nodded. She knew that this was Night Sorrow's big picture vision. He was willing to contribute. Okay, you all go and make the arrangements now. I will go and make some arrangements. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow planned to use the formation battle during the army battle. He planned to first eliminate a portion of the Shinwu Great World's army's strength. This way, when they attacked the Shinwu Great World, there would be much less resistance. After instructing the commanders to make the arrangements, Night Sorrow rode the ice Qilin and left. Then, he estimated the location and began to set up the formation. The Azure Supreme the Arch and the others looked at Yi Shang's deployment and did not express any opinions. Speak. The 6th update has arrived. Chapter 1389. Night Sorrow estimated the position the Nine Heavens army could occupy based on their current positions. Then, he started to set up the formation. Night Sorrow rode the ice Qilin to set up the spell formations. It took him only half a day to finish setting up the Heaven Sealing Trapping and Killing spell formations and the Heaven Sealing Illusionary Killing spell formations. Seeing that there were no problems, Night Sorrow called back Xia Qing, Xian Daozi, and Sheng Wanhong, who were standing guard outside. Uncles, let's go back and drink some tea, Night Sorrow called out. I want to drink some good tea, Summer City said with a laugh. The tense atmosphere before the battle was nowhere to be seen. After returning to the command tent and drinking some tea, Night Sorrow went to check on the various camps. Seeing that everyone was cultivating their joint attack formations, Night Sorrow did not disturb them. He returned to the main tent and continued cultivating. Currently, Night Sorrow had many ways to increase his strength, but he could not do so. He could refine the soul cultivation liquid, but his main body was in a state of enlightenment. He could not do anything else. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, the various armies were preparing for war. Inside Scarlet Origin City's City Lord's office, spies were constantly coming in to report the situation. After summarizing the information, Qing Emperor looked at the other Heaven Masters and said, Night Sorrow's calculations were correct. The other side did not continue fighting elsewhere. Their forces are now gathered in Three Peak City. Their next target is Scarlet Origin City. Night Sorrow defeated Lin Qingyi and Sha Chongtian. This is a signal. If we don't fight and take down Night Sorrow, then the following attacks will be useless. We won't be able to win the war. If we don't deal with Night Sorrow and the 9 Heaven Army, no matter how much territory you conquer, our world of samsara will still take it back, Sima Tianqing said. What's going on? A world war between 2 worlds, and we can only watch as a youngster carries the burden. This is simply unacceptable, Red Emperor said. Capable people do more work. If he can do it, others can't. What can we do? Sima Tianqing said. This is a hurdle for our world of samsara. It is also a hurdle for Night Sorrow's team. We know that Night Sorrow is strong, but Prince Shan, who is also an undefeated monarch. Many of our monarchs have been killed by him, and this is under the circumstances that we are fighting conservatively. If we fight fiercely, who knows how many of our monarchs will die? Misty Rain said. Everyone knew of Night Sorrow's strength, but Prince Shan, whose strength was not to be underestimated. He was the world's #1 monarch, an undefeated monarch. At this moment, in the study room of the City Lord residence in Three Peak City, Heaven Monarch Shenhu and Prince Shan who were talking. Son, you have to be careful. That Night Sorrow is not simple. Up until now, no one has figured it out. If I'm not wrong, he has the void attribute. As for which branch he belongs to, it's hard to say. So you have to be careful. Kill him, and then our Shenwu Great World's offensive will be able to develop. Prince Shan who said. For countless years, there had not been a complete supreme attribute born, so Prince Shan who did not think in that direction. I understand. If I can contribute to the world war, I will be able to receive the blessings of the Shenwu Great World. Then, I might be able to improve. Prince Shan who said. That's right. The blessings of luck are very important. This time, Father made a mistake. He did not think that the opponent's Death Master and Blood Emperor Sandalwood would be so strong. It will be difficult for us Heaven Masters to win this war. So, we can only rely on you and the army. Prince Shan who said. There were more Heaven Masters in the Shenwu Great World than in the Reincarnation Great World. However, in terms of individual battle strength, Datura and Sandalwood were strong. The Qing Emperor and Sima Tianqing were not to be trifled with either. There was also another strong Prince Yuandao who had not yet joined the battle. Night Sorrow was also studying Prince Shanhu's situation. After looking at the information, Night Sorrow was stunned. Prince Shanhu's willpower and attributes were similar to his. Lord God, who was a heaven-devouring tiger who had attained the Tao through cultivation. His son and grandson had extremely strong cultivation talent and also had absolute arts. The absolute art's name was heaven-devouring. The heaven-devouring tiger's attribute was time, and the absolute art was a space-time absolute art. They had a space in their bodies. If they were attacked by their absolute art and could not block it, they would be sucked into their internal space and be annihilated. Even if they were not sucked into their internal space, they would still be affected and killed. Night Sorrow thought for a while. He felt that he had the will of space-time, time, and space attributes. The opponent's absolute art would not affect him much. In addition, the heaven-devouring tiger's speed and strength were also very strong. However, Night Sorrow was not afraid of them. Strength was his forte. With a space attribute protective shield, Night Sorrow was not afraid of anyone in terms of speed. Commander, the people from the Shenwu Great World have arrived. However, they are moving slowly. They are advancing steadily and are integrating as they advance. They should arrive in 2 days. Jun Xuanji entered the tent and reported the information he had received. 2 days. That's fine. The Reincarnation Great World's army's combined attacks should be somewhat effective, Night Sorrow said. Isn't it a little rushed? Jun Xuanji asked. It's fine. It's not difficult to cultivate the combined attacks of 3 and 4 people. These soldiers are all very high level. It's not a problem for them to cultivate the combined attacks. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow did not hide anything and took out the combined attacks because he did not want to see too many people die. He also wanted to prepare for a counterattack. The current battlefield was in the reincarnation world. To the reincarnation world, there was no way they could win. Therefore, Night Sorrow planned to kill his way out after resolving the war in the reincarnation world. When the war started, Night Sorrow's plan to send a Heaven Master to the Shinwu Great World to attack the War Tiger Empire's main city had been put on hold. This was because no one wanted to start a war between Heaven Masters. If they fought, both sides would have no bottom line and the war would be out of control. If there's nothing else, I'll continue to collect information. You be careful, Jun Xuanji said and left the command tent. At this moment, Qing Lin and Qing Wan came and entered the tent. Junior brother, why didn't you give us a mission? Qing Lin asked. Even if you didn't come, I would have looked for you. Men, inform the commander of the Red Emperor's Empire, Chiwa, to come over. Night Sorrow said to the messenger soldier at the door. After Chiwa came, Night Sorrow told him his second plan. Senior sister Qing Wan, senior brother Qing Lin, Prince Chiwa, I've received news that the Shinwu Great World's army has gathered at the Three Peak City. This means that they have no time to care about other places. The three of you will lead the army to battle and conquer the areas that the reincarnation world has occupied, Night Sorrow said. Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and Chiwa all wanted to see how Night Sorrow would fight to the death with the War Tiger Prince. However, Night Sorrow had given them a mission and they had to carry it out. After Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and Chiwa left, Night Sorrow continued to study the use of the light of merit. The conquest battle had begun. Qing Lin, Qing Wan, and Chiwa led their troops and began to conquer the occupied areas. Headzi issue the people of the Shinwu Great World didn't react when they received the news because that wasn't important. Only the battle at Red Origin City could change the situation. Speak. The 7th update has arrived. There are still 3 updates to be completed before 10 o'clock. Chapter 1390. Night Sorrow didn't react to the arrival of the Shinwu Great World's army. The various armies were already fully prepared for war. Night Sorrow was concerned about whether the formation he had set up had been discovered. The Shinwu Great World's army was advancing at an extremely slow speed. They were integrating their forces as they advanced. Integration was an indispensable part of a joint battle. Night Sorrow had already completed the integration of the reincarnation world's army. However, the Shinwu Great World's army still needed time to integrate. Previously, they were all fighting individually. Now that they needed a large-scale joint battle, they needed to be integrated and mobilized. Everyone knew that the Battle of Scarlet Origin City would be recorded in history. It was a heavy stroke because this battle would change the situation of the war. Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. Perhaps the opponent's army's combat strength would increase after they were integrated. However, this situation also existed in the reincarnation world's army. Moreover, the reincarnation world's army's combat strength had more room for improvement compared to the Shinwu Great World's army. This was because they were all cultivating the joint attack formation. The reincarnation world's army was stationed outside Scarlet Origin City. The Heaven Masters were all on the city gate. If it wasn't a battle between Heaven Masters, they could only watch without any room to make a move. When Night Sorrow wasn't around, they had to make arrangements for the army's mobilization. Now that these matters were handed over to Night Sorrow, they didn't care and didn't ask about it. Qing Emperor, our Sima Manor has benefited from you this time. After learning your joint attack formation, we will definitely make it up to you in the future. Sima Tiancheng said. Red Emperor and Li Badian also had the same thoughts. The joint attack formation wasn't that difficult, but no one had researched it. Now that their army was cultivating the joint attack formation, it was a favor. Actually, the level of the joint attack formation isn't very high. However, I've seen it and its effects are indeed very strong. Why didn't I think of this problem before? Red Emperor said. You have to return this favor to Night Sorrow. The joint attack formation is his, not mine. Qing Emperor said. His combat strength is outstanding, and his style of doing things is domineering. With such a personality, he can still study array formations. Heavenly Lord Precious Fragrance said in astonishment. Not only is he good at research, but he's also very accomplished. He's already an advanced Heavenly Adept Array Master. He's also an artifact refiner and alchemist, Qing Emperor said with a smile. All-round development. That is very tiring. However, if you achieve something, you don't have to ask for help, the Red Emperor said with a smile. Then I'll show off to you guys. Night Sorrow is also an advanced Heavenly Adept weapon forger and alchemist. You guys can go to him if you need anything, but if you want to work for him, you'll have to pay the price, Qing Emperor said. Qing Emperor, when it comes to recruiting disciples, no one can compare to you. Sima Tianqing said with a smile. How many disciples have each of you taken in? It took me so many years to get to. It's not easy, the Qing Emperor said. Seeing that the enemy's army was advancing slowly, Night Sorrow ignored them and returned to his tent to continue cultivating the indestructible golden body of merit. Although he didn't have enough light of merit, Night Sorrow's body had been baptized by the light of merit. His energy circulation was also filled with a majestic aura. On this day, Night Sorrow had just finished cultivating when a guest came. It was the Marquis of Qingyi, Lin Qingyi from the Shenwu Great World's Heavenly Moon Pavilion. What are you doing here? Night Sorrow asked Lin Qingyi after hearing Jun Xuanji's report. To watch the battle. Lin Qingyi spat out 2 words. That's because it's appropriate to go there, right? Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. It's not appropriate. Because the Heavenly Moon Pavilion withdrew from the realm war, they are now more hostile towards each other. Why? Don't you have the magnanimity and courage to do so? Lin Qingyi, who was wearing a red robe and a white veil, asked. Yes, please. Night Sorrow nodded. He saw that Lin Qingyi's eyes were very clear and felt that she didn't have any ulterior motives. Night Sorrow brought Lin Qingyi to the command tent and made a pot of tea. He didn't say anything. The Heavenly Moon Pavilion has all retreated and won't participate in the realm war. So you don't have to look at me with hostility. I'm here to see if the first monarch of the world of Samsara or the Shenwu Great World is more powerful, Lin Qingyi said. You'll be viewed as an enemy. People in the Shenwu Great World will think that you're a traitor, Night Sorrow looked at Lin Qingyi and said. I have a clear conscience. I don't care. Lin Qingyi said. If you don't care, I don't care either. Xuanji, since you're here, you're a guest. I'll arrange accommodation for you next to your tent later, Night Sorrow joked. Night Sorrow didn't care about Lin Qingyi. Lin Qingyi stayed in the 9 Heavens Army's camp alone. Night Sorrow knew that she wasn't a spy and didn't ask about it. She could do whatever she wanted. After a day, while Night Sorrow was reading information about the Shenwu Great World, Lin Qingyi came to Night Sorrow's command tent. She made tea for herself and poured a cup for Night Sorrow. If you can take down Prince Zhanhu, you'll win the realm war if there are no changes. Starter square root, hee, how did you come to such a conclusion? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Your 9 Heavens army is very strong. No other army in the Shenwu Great World can compare to it. Whether it's power or spirit, it's all on point, Lin Qingyi said. Thank you for your praise of my brother. Yishan cupped his hands towards Lin Qingyi. I'm just speaking the truth. After the war, you can come to the Shenwu Great World. I, Lin Qingyi, will take care of you, Lin Qingyi said. I have to go. The war won't end so easily, Night Sorrow said. You want to fight? Lin Qingyi was stunned when she heard Night Sorrow's words. She thought of something. Since you've guessed it, I won't hide it from you. Do you think we'll just take a beating and be done with it? Either they completely defeat us, or they don't defeat us and beat us up, and then they just walk away. That's impossible, Night Sorrow said. That's the reason. I have nothing to say. Lin Qingyi sighed. If Tianyue Pavilion doesn't join in, I can make the decision that the reincarnation world's army won't enter Tianyue Pavilion's territory, Night Sorrow said. Tianyue Pavilion doesn't do shameless things. A loss is a loss. If you kill without a bottom line, we won't do anything. My master's side will also have the same attitude, Lin Qingyi said. Alright, you can watch the war as a VIP. If the Zhanwu dynasty and Martial's sacred palace want to fight, I'll fight with them to the end, Night Sorrow said. What kind of grudge do you have against each other? Why would they join forces to fight? In the end, the grudge war turned into a realm war, Lin Qingyi asked. It's a long story. The Martial's sacred hall wanted to seize the treasure. Back then, a few forces from the world of reincarnation launched an attack on the Azure Emperor dynasty. As for the Zhanwu dynasty, I can only say that they're shameless. They wanted to marry the princess of the Qing Emperor's dynasty by force. Who do they think they are? They're asking for a beating, Night Sorrow said angrily. Speak. The first watch arrived. Chapter 1391. After being stunned for a moment, Lin Qingyi asked for the details. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything. He told her about the conflict between Lord of Heaven Fierce Tiger and the Qing Emperor during his wedding, as well as the declaration of war by the Martial's sacred palace. What a disgrace. You really deserve a beating, Lin Qingyi said with a cold face. Therefore, this war must be fought. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't expect that there would be people in the Shinwu Great World who could understand him. Then may I ask, since the Martial's Sacred Hall has declared war on you, do you have a heavenly Tao artifact? If you do, let me see it. I definitely don't have any disloyalty. I just haven't seen it before, Lin Qingyi said. It is indeed the heavenly artifact, but it is incomplete. It has the effect of accelerating time. My original body is using it to cultivate, so you can't see it for the time being. Night Sorrow said with a smile. There was nothing he couldn't say. He could survive in the face of a heaven master. Who could kill him and snatch it? This isn't your original body. No matter how strong the doppelganger is, it is only a part of the original body's combat strength. If the doppelganger is so strong, then the original body must be even more powerful. The gap between us is huge. Lin Qingyi sized up Night Sorrow. You are going to fight with your original body. Aren't you afraid of being destroyed? Night Sorrow asked Lin Qingyi. I am not afraid. I have life-saving means. Even if I encounter a strong enemy and get killed, I can protect my soul. Although I am seriously injured and need a long time to reconstruct my body to recover my cultivation, it is still a guarantee, Lin Qingyi said. My original body needs to cultivate and comprehend will. Therefore, I can only send my doppelganger to fight, Night Sorrow said. In fact, the original body and doppelganger could be detected by soul inspection. However, it was impolite to do so rashly. Generally, no one would do so. If there is a chance, I will see your heavenly artifact. Let's see how you fare in this battle. Lin Qingyi nodded. I have to say that your position is very dangerous. If you are here, it won't be good if the people of the Shinwu Great World see you. Maybe you don't care, but it will bring a lot of trouble. For the sake of the gentleman's battle, I will remind you to disguise yourself, Night Sorrow said to Lin Qingyi. Look at Jie Jingji, carrot version of chapter, section 1. Lin Qingyi thought about it and nodded. She understood what Night Sorrow said. After that, Jun Xuanji left with Lin Qingyi and went to another tent to rest. Night Sorrow drank tea and pondered. For example, if War Tiger Prince and his doppelganger were to fight together, the battle would be a bit more difficult. Exhaling, Night Sorrow stood up. So what? He wasn't even afraid of the mandala, so why would he be afraid of him? After calming down, Night Sorrow began to cultivate the invincible golden body. After 5 days of peace, the army of Shinwu Great World arrived outside Red Origin City and faced off against the army of Samsara Great World. The Shinwu Great World Legion was located in the area where Night Sorrow had set up the formation. Uncles, you know the area where I set up the formation. After the battle starts, don't worry about anything else. Just insert 2 spirit stones into the formation and the formation will be activated, Night Sorrow said to Summer City, Shangwanhong, and Xiandaozi. The 3 from Summer City nodded. They knew that the real bloody battle was coming. It was the core battle of this realm war. Datura came to Night Sorrow's side and said, "Be careful during the battle. There's no need to go all out. You still have a lot of room for improvement. You still have a lot of clones to fight, and your battle strength isn't at its peak. Aluo, don't worry. It's true that I'm using a clone to fight, but not just anyone can injure me. Go tell my master and the others that I'm going to be ruthless this time, so their heaven overlords might interfere," said Yishan. Night Sorrow was worried about this. When the Shinwu Great World Legion suffered heavy losses, the other party's heaven masters might interfere. Datura nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow was going to be ruthless this time. If the other party couldn't withstand it, it would be a huge loss for them. After that, Datura went to communicate with the other heaven masters. What do you mean? Are you worried that the other party's heaven masters will interfere if the other party suffers heavy losses? Sima Tiancheng looked at Datura and asked. Yes, so we have to make some preparations, Datura nodded. This is a good thing. Our main body and clones are all here. If Night Sorrow can succeed, then we have to consolidate our strength, Mishti Rain said. Night Sorrow was very calm. He also notified the various army commanders to prepare for battle. Are you very calm? Lin Qingyi came to Night Sorrow's side and asked. Not really. I'm very excited. There aren't many fighters like this. I don't care about fame, but I want to know who's the first sovereign, Night Sorrow said as he looked in the direction of the Shinwu Great World Legion. I don't know who's stronger between you and Prince Zhanhu, but I can say that given time, you'll definitely be the first sovereign, Lin Qingyi said seriously. Maybe I'm the first sovereign now. Night Sorrow smiled. He was confident in himself. Night Sorrow knew that the other party wouldn't fight today. They would first show off their momentum and pressure the soldiers of the Reincarnation Great World. Then, they would officially fight. The Shinwu Great World Legion indeed didn't start fighting directly. If this method works on us, then our 9 Heavens Legion won't be able to survive, Jun Xuanji snorted coldly. Don't mind it. Some people can think about it, Night Sorrow said and returned to his tent. Night Sorrow returned to his tent and sat down to meditate. At this time, no one would ambush him. There was no point in ambushing him. Who wouldn't be prepared? Moreover, the next battle would be the battle between the strongest sovereigns. Whoever ambushed him would be at a disadvantage. Dawn. The sun didn't appear. The clouds in the sky were very low. Strong wind swept away the clouds and churned above the battlefield. The atmosphere was very somber. This was the most important battle in the realm war. It was very important to the Reincarnation Great World, so it was normal for the weather to be different. At this time, the Shinwu Great World Legion moved forward. Following this, a burly middle-aged man with golden hair and a red ribbon appeared riding a silver dragon. Night Sorrow's body flashed and landed on Ice Cheelan's back. He also walked out of the Legion's camp. Night Sorrow, come out. I, War Tiger Prince, will kill you today, War Tiger Prince shouted towards the reincarnation Great World Legion. Seeing Night Sorrow come out and shout, War Tiger Prince did it for the sake of momentum. He didn't need to talk about his personal needs, but the soldiers of the Legion needed it. Today was not only a battle between sovereigns but also a battle between legions. I thought you were a hero, but now it seems like you're just a so-so. Your thoughts are useless. 9 Heavens Legion, are you afraid of battle? Night Sorrow pointed at the sky with his right hand and shouted. We are invincible. Kill all who come. 9 Heavens Legion. Invincible. The 9 Heavens Legion shouted out 2 slogans. Night Sorrow looked back and nodded in satisfaction. He then looked at War Tiger Prince and said, use your strength to speak. Speak. Update 9. Actually, the most awesome slogan was, 10,000 troops, not a single blade of grass will survive. Update 10, 10:20 a.m. There were a few blackouts today. I had no choice. Chapter 1392. Prince Shan who glared at Night Sorrow. Because of Night Sorrow's simple sentence, his plan to build up momentum had been foiled. Don't try to play tricks with me. It's meaningless and makes you seem childish, Night Sorrow said coldly. Don't say such useless things. Once I kill you, everything will be solved, Prince Shan who said with narrowed eyes. If you can survive in this world with your mouth, then I have to say that you will do very well, Night Sorrow looked at Prince Shan who and said. Then you can die. Prince Shan whose body shook. He flew off the silver dragon and charged at Yishan. Yishang's feet trembled as he rose into the air and flew towards Prince Shan who. The battle between the strongest monarchs had officially begun. Both of them are top-tier monarchs. This is a battle of fate. Someone is destined to rise, Li Tian who said. Can you speak? Night Sorrow will rise from this battle. He will be unrivaled among the monarchs. Datura stared at Li Tian who. Ha! My mouth doesn't know how to speak, Li Tian who said with a smile. I have confidence in Night Sorrow, Qing Emperor said. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Prince Shan who began to fight in close quarters. Prince Shan whose blade slashed at Night Sorrow's sky rend. After a loud explosion, the two separated. Night Sorrow only retreated 5 or 6 feet because of the splash of energy. However, Prince Shan who was sent flying 200 feet because of the impact. This caused the spectators to be very shocked. The cultivators of Shenwu Great World all knew that the sky-devouring tiger race was extremely strong. However, when compared to Night Sorrow, human cultivator, they were at a disadvantage. After repelling Prince Shan who, Yishang knew that he had the upper hand in terms of strength. Night Sorrow unleashed a linear cut on his protective shield as he rushed forward. Once again, he used the Void Extreme Strike. Following an explosion, War Tiger Prince was forced back a distance, but it was better than before. He swung his saber at Night Sorrow. Prince Shan whose battle blade was very long, about 6 meters long. It was wrapped in gray energy, which was the energy of time. Come on. Let's see how powerful your time energy is. Let's see what you're going to use to kill me. Night Sorrow's Nihility willpower suppressed Prince Shan who and then used Nihility Extreme Point to kill him. The sound of energy explosions continued to ring out. War Tiger Prince was forced back by Night Sorrow's attacks. In terms of strength, Night Sorrow had the advantage. In terms of speed, Night Sorrow also had the advantage. In addition, War Tiger Prince had the advantage in attributes. It was only natural that War Tiger Prince would be suppressed. This was the restraint of strength, speed, and elemental laws. Everyone was very surprised. Originally, everyone thought that they should be evenly matched. Even if one was stronger, it would only be by a bit. However, the battle proved that it was not the case. Other than the initial slash, War Tiger Prince was passively defending. What's going on? Overwhelming him. Red Emperor said with some surprise. He can fight with Datura Chinensis and not lose. That means he has the strength to fight against a big shot. War Tiger Prince is not enough, right? Gap, this is the gap. His foundation is deep, but who knows how deep it is? Lord of Precious Fragrance said. Knight Sorrow did not feel any pressure as he suppressed War Tiger Prince. You want to kill me? This bit of strength is not enough. Continue. Knight Sorrow fiercely pushed War Tiger Prince back and then shouted. You deserve to die. After being pushed back by Knight Sorrow, War Tiger Prince's eyes were bloodshot. He had lost face. He was Shenmue Great World's #1 monarch, but now he was being suppressed. After letting out a low roar, War Tiger Prince's body flashed and a doppelganger appeared. It also held a battle sword and attacked Knight Sorrow. Afterimage body. Knight Sorrow used Afterimage body and then attacked War Tiger Prince's doppelganger, which was relatively weaker. Figures flew and energy surged. Knight Sorrow and War Tiger Prince began to fight in the air above the battlefield. The winner has been decided. War Tiger Prince's original body and doppelganger are fighting together. If they can't take down Junior Brother's doppelganger, what right does he have to be called the strongest monarch? Jean Tan snorted. She was already dissatisfied. Knight Sorrow was fighting with his doppelganger, but his opponent was fighting with his original body and doppelganger. Although Knight Sorrow was only a doppelganger, he was not at a disadvantage. The Afterimage body was controlled by his soul. Although it did not have any attacking power, it could dodge attacks. In addition, Knight Sorrow's strength and speed were suppressing War Tiger Prince, so the battle was still evenly matched. Damn it. I'll make sure you don't even have a corpse left. War Tiger Prince was getting more and more angry. His original body and doppelganger were fighting together. If they could not take down Knight Sorrow, it meant that they were not as good as Knight Sorrow. Look at the original chapter. You only know how to talk. Can't you say something more nutritious? Knight Sorrow replied. Tiger Roaring Wave. War Tiger Prince's original body and doppelganger retreated a little. Then, both of them opened their mouths and roared at Knight Sorrow's doppelganger. It was an ultimate skill, a sound wave attack. There was no such thing. In the information that Knight Sorrow had read, War Tiger Prince did not have such an ultimate skill. Caught off guard, Knight Sorrow's doppelganger was all shattered. Swallow the sky. After dispersing Knight Sorrow's doppelganger, War Tiger Prince used his ultimate skill, Swallow the Sky. He first used the Tiger Roaring Wave to break Knight Sorrow's doppelganger. Then, he used his ultimate skill, Swallow the Sky. When fighting against normal monarchs, War Tiger Prince only needed to use his doppelganger or his original body to use Swallow the Sky. However, he knew that Knight Sorrow was very strong. So, he used both his original body and doppelganger together to kill Knight Sorrow. War Tiger Prince's original body and doppelganger both opened their mouths. Two gray energy whirlpools swept towards Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow's spacetime willpower burst forth. The spacetime energy shield kept vibrating. Stalemate. With the spacetime willpower suppressing War Tiger Prince's Swallow the Sky, War Tiger Prince's energy whirlpools did not affect Knight Sorrow. The two sides were in a stalemate. Lord God Tiger stood up. He felt that the situation was not good. This was War Tiger Prince's strongest move. If it could not do anything to Knight Sorrow, then they would not be able to win this battle. After a moment of stalemate, Knight Sorrow made his move. His willpower and energy instantly switched. They became void willpower and void energy. At this time, War Tiger Prince's doppelgangers swallow the sky whirlpool came close to Night Sorrow's body. It was immediately destroyed. Night Sorrow's body flashed as he followed the pulling force of the energy vortex released by War Tiger Prince's true body towards War Tiger Prince. Great Emperor Cycle Slash. When he got close to War Tiger Prince's original body, Night Sorrow used his ultimate skill. A battle of life and death was not for learning. It was for killing. Now, Night Sorrow wanted to kill War Tiger Prince because he had killed many people. Among them, there was demon blood that Night Sorrow was familiar with. A purple halo exploded. It rushed through the gray energy and enveloped War Tiger Prince's head. Then, with a whistling sound, Sky Splitter pierced towards War Tiger Prince's head. Speak. The 10th update has arrived. Today's 10th update has ended. Thank you, brothers. Congratulations, brother, for leveling up to Black Diamond. Rest for a while, then repay brother and continue. Chapter 1393. In previous battles, Night Sorrow had not dared to fully unleash the will of the void. He had always been secretive and had not been able to fully display its might. But now, he was no longer afraid. If a Heaven Master attacked him, he would be able to survive. Thus, he no longer had any scruples. Using the will of nothingness as the main body of the Great Emperor Reincarnation / the power was much stronger than before. The purple light directly melted the gray spacetime energy from Prince Shanhu. After passing through it, it enveloped Prince Shanhu's head. Seeing that it was effective, Night Sorrow quickly attacked with the Space Slicer. The energy from the Space Slicer pierced through the gray energy whirlpool and through Prince Shanhu's forehead. Prince Shanhu's head was destroyed without a sound. Night Sorrow's body flashed and his left hand grabbed Prince Shanhu's storage ring. He then turned around to face Prince Shanhu's clone. Are you going to use this strength to shout that you want to kill me? Your original body is dead. Night Sorrow waved the Space Slicer and charged towards Prince Shanhu. Prince Shanhu's body flashed and he immediately ran. How would he dare to fight? Both his original body and clone were not a match for Night Sorrow. Now that his original body was destroyed and only his clone was left, he no longer had the ability to fight. Night Sorrow's body flashed and he began his pursuit. Since there was a chance to kill, he would naturally take it to his death. You're courting death. Heaven Lord God whose body flashed and he flew towards the area where Night Sorrow and Prince Shanhu were chasing. You're the one who's courting death. Datura, who had been observing the battle, flashed and arrived at the battlefield. He waved his hollow blade and slashed towards Heaven Lord God who. However, Night Sorrow wasn't able to catch up to Prince War Tiger. It wasn't that his speed was inferior to Prince War Tiger's, but that the distance between them was too short. Prince War Tiger was rushing towards the Divine Martial Great World's Heaven Master camp. No matter how bold Night Sorrow was, he could not run into the Heaven Masters of the other party. Seeing Prince Shanhu run back, Sky Lord Shinhu dodged Datura's blade and also retreated. He knew he couldn't beat Datura. Why are you running away? Aren't you going to kill me? If you continue to be so arrogant, I'll kill you. All of you, listen up. This is the Reincarnation Great World. It's not a place where you can behave atrociously. Prince Shanhu, remember this. I'll kill your true body this time. The next time we meet, I'll kill you thoroughly. Night Sorrow pointed at War Tiger Prince and roared. Datura also retreated to Night Sorrow's side. Kill. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. The furious War Tiger Prince roared. Upon hearing Prince Shanhu's command, Shinwu Great World's army charged towards Night Sorrow and the Nine Heavens army. Kill them all. Very good. Nine Heavens army, fight. Night Sorrow waved his Sky Lord and gave the order. If Prince Shanhu wanted to kill them all, he wouldn't hold back either. At this moment, the heaven masters of the reincarnation great world were floating in the air and staring at the Shinwu great world's heaven masters. They were not allowed to interfere in the war between the armies. The first release of the war started and both armies started to move. Summer City, Shangwanhong, and Xiandaozi avoided the enemy's attack path and reached the array formation area. They used the Saint Spirit Stone to activate the array formation. The array formation was activated at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, it covered the Shinwu Great World's army that hadn't rushed out of the area. Night Sorrow's men moved. The Skyheart Army and Sima Army on the left and the Bloodthirsty Army and Black Evil Army on the right all rushed out and attacked the Shinwu Great World's army. Nine Heavens Army and Yuanchu Army followed Night Sorrow and attacked the War Tiger Army. God Tiger, you better not move. If you move, it won't be as simple as a realm war. No matter how big our losses are, you guys won't be able to return. Qing Emperor looked at Lord God Tiger, who was also in the air. Lord God Tiger's eyelids twitched. He wanted to attack, but he couldn't. Some things were beyond his expectations. He was on par with Datura. Other than Sandalwood and Qing Emperor, others couldn't stop them. If they fought, there would be casualties. This was something he couldn't bear. The battle between the armies was intense. However, the Reincarnation Great World's army had the absolute upper hand, especially the Nine Heavens Army. They were in groups of 3 and 5, and their killing power was extremely high. Those who were targeted by them would definitely be killed. Lord God Tiger looked at Datura and the others, but he couldn't do anything. He could only watch as the soldiers of his army were killed. Defeated. Lord God Tiger knew that they had lost this battle. After War Tiger Prince was killed, the momentum of the Shinwu Great World had already dissipated. In addition, Night Sorrow's array had trapped a portion of the people. The remaining portion couldn't withstand the full force of the Reincarnation Great World's army. Retreat. Heaven Monarch Shinhu shouted. You want to retreat? Chase after them. Yi Shang gave the order once again. When Prince Shan who had shouted that he would kill all of them, Yi Shang had been infuriated, so he would not be polite now. The Shinwu Great World's army retreated. Night Sorrow led his men to chase after them. Night Sorrow wasn't a murderous person. However, he knew that now wasn't the time to be merciful. If he was merciful now, the Shinwu Great World's army would still have strength and fight again. Black Evil Army, stay behind. Send a message to the Green Qilin Army, Green Phoenix Army, and Chiwa Army to come back. Trap the troops in the array. Night Sorrow turned around and shouted to the Black Evil Army. He led his army to bypass the area where he set up the array. He ignored the soldiers of the Shinwu Great World who were trapped and started killing the soldiers of the Shinwu Great World who were retreating. The battle was very intense as they chased after them. The soldiers of the Reincarnation Great World were in high spirits. This was because this was the first time they had fought a battle to their heart's content. The leaders of both sides were also moving. They were above the soldiers who were fighting. Neither side made a move. There was no need for Qing Emperor and the others. They didn't need to make a move. The battle was already won. Lord God Tiger and the others couldn't make a move. If they made a move, Qing Emperor and the others would definitely make a move. After chasing for half a day, Night Sorrow gave the order to stop the chase. Because they could no longer chase after them, the Divine Martial Great World's legions had all been scattered. Retreat. Night Sorrow led his army back to Red Origin City. Red Origin City was still in a mess. When Night Sorrow arrived outside Scarlet Origin City, he saw that the Black Fiend Legion, the Green Phoenix Legion, and the Green Qilin Legion were surrounding the array formation. Those who charged out of the array formation without resisting would be captured, tied up, and thrown to the side. Those who resisted would be killed. Surround them. After I release the array, kill those who resist. Those who don't resist, capture them first. Night Sorrow said as he released the array. When the array was released, the soldiers of the Shinwu Great World saw the reincarnation Great World surrounding them. How could they resist? After capturing all of them, Yi Shang returned to the big tent in the barracks. After Yi Shang entered, he saw that Lin Qingyi was there too. A complete victory. Just as I expected, Prince Shan, who wasn't a match for you. It seems like you didn't use your full strength when you fought with me. Lin Qingyi looked at Night Sorrow and said. Speak. First update. Chapter 1394. Your Excellency, you think too much. I was just lucky, Night Sorrow said. It's not luck, it's strength. Your world of samsara won and they lost the ability to continue fighting. That's strange. Why didn't you bring your men to the Thunder Cliff? That's their stronghold for attacking the world of samsara. If you took it down, wouldn't you gain more benefits? Lin Qingyi said. Your Excellency, I have my considerations. If we took down the Thunder Cliff, the scattered soldiers of Shinwu Great World would not be able to return. If they stayed, it would affect the peace of the world of samsara. Therefore, I gave them a chance to go back, Night Sorrow said. Your Excellency is very awkward. You can call me Qin Ho. That's what my friends call me. Besides, if you don't pursue the victory, you will lose the opportunity to fight. When the people of Shinwu Great World leave, the teleportation formation will be destroyed. Won't you suffer a loss? Lin Qingyi said. She felt that Night Sorrow's move was a mistake. It was a mistake that the number one commander of the world of samsara should not make. Go. Qin Ho, actually I have other arrangements. Is it only the teleportation formation that they set up? The world of samsara also set up a teleportation formation when the war started. I know you don't care about the realm war now. It doesn't matter if I tell you. When they leave and the teleportation formation at the Thunder Cliff is destroyed, it will be impossible for the Shinwu Great World to enter the world of samsara. In the future, I can fight whenever I want, but they can't. Today's battle is just the beginning of the realm war for me, Night Sorrow said as he brewed a pot of tea. You have a flawless plan. I used my own thinking to measure you. That was a mistake. Lin Qingyi laughed self-deprecatingly. I just made a secret move in advance. It's more effective. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Lin Qingyi. A secret move. You made one secret move after another. Today's trap and kill formation directly reduced the combat power of Shinwu Great World by half. It allowed the world of samsara to win this turning battle with a small loss, Lin Qingyi said. We caught a lot of people today. I don't want to kill too many people. What do you think we should do with these people? Night Sorrow asked Lin Qingyi. What do you think? Lin Qingyi looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. There was no need for Night Sorrow to tell her about these things. If you can arrange it, I can hand that person over to you. I don't have any other requests. Just don't harm our reincarnation great world and don't participate in this realm war. Once the realm war is over, they can go back, Night Sorrow said. You're still so kind. I think you're quite ruthless today. Lin Qingyi didn't understand, because the current Yi Shang was completely different from the Yi Shang who had fought on the battlefield. It's different. That's war. I didn't kill, I was merciful. Those who died were my brothers. Now that the battle is over, there's no need to continue killing. Participating in the realm war is not a crime in itself. They might have been fathers or sons. It doesn't matter if they die, but what they leave behind is the grief of their families, said Yi Shan. You're right. Leave these people to me. Lin Qingyi nodded. Uncle Xian Daozi, bring Qing Ho over. Tell him that I want all the captives to be handed over to Qing Ho, Knight Sorrow said to Xian Daozi, who entered the tent. Just as Xian Daozi and Lin Qingyi left, Knight Sorrow's body shone brightly. It was a golden light. Meritorious body. The moment the meritorious saint changed, Knight Sorrow understood. He had won this battle for the reincarnation great world. He had become a meritorious saint in the reincarnation great world. The meritorious light in his body was very strong. The 9 regions world would be a supreme world like the reincarnation great world in the future. However, it was not possible now. Therefore, the meritorious light in the meritorious saint of the 9 regions world was not enough to support him to become a meritorious saint of the reincarnation great world. However, after this battle, Knight Sorrow had enough merit to become a meritorious saint. Moreover, it was not the same feeling as when he had just become a meritorious saint. It could even be said that the light of merit he had obtained this time made Knight Sorrow not far from becoming a meritorious saint. Knight Sorrow thought about it and understood. This was a realm war. It was a battle between the reincarnation great world and the Shenwu great world. He had killed Prince Zhanhu, which was a turning point. He had also led his army to victory and laid the foundation for the realm war. It was reasonable for him to have great merit. After getting used to it, Knight Sorrow stored the light of merit in his body and went to the city lord's mansion. At this time, the heaven masters had all returned and were drinking tea and chatting. When they saw Knight Sorrow, they all smiled because Knight Sorrow had made a name for himself. The first monarch of the Shenwu great world had fought together with his clone, but Knight Sorrow had killed the first monarch. They were not on the same level at all. Knight Sorrow sat down beside Datura. Then, the Qing Emperor asked Knight Sorrow what he wanted to do next. Knight Sorrow told the Qing Emperor and the others about the arrangement of the captives. That's good. It's okay to kill them during the war. After the war, it's not appropriate to kill the captives. It's immoral. You can arrange it as you see fit. The Qing Emperor said. Master, I plan to attack the Shenwu great world after stabilizing the situation. The victory of the realm war is important, but the stability of our reincarnation great world is more important. Knight Sorrow expressed his thoughts. We have no objections. The army of the reincarnation great world will be under your command now and in the future. Sima Tianqing said. This was his attitude. In the reincarnation great world, the Qing Emperor's dynasty, the Dark Abyss, and the Red Emperor's empire were all on the same side. The Blackfiend Valley was also riding on Knight Sorrow's coattails. Everyone knew this and the Li brothers didn't mind. First, Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord also said that the Yuanchu army would be led by Knight Sorrow. Therefore, Sima Tianqing's attitude was the final decision. Okay, I won't favor one and discriminate against the other. I'll treat it the same. Knight Sorrow made a promise. Knight Sorrow, there's bad news. According to the spy of the Dark Abyss in the Celestial Sect, Lord of Heaven God who went to the Celestial Sect. However, we didn't find out what he did or what he discussed. Datura said. This is an unstable factor, but we can't act directly now. Let's ignore them for now. Next, we'll reclaim our lost land and stabilize it. Then, we'll attack the Thunder Cliff. After the reincarnation great world is stabilized, we'll go to war. The Zhanwu dynasty and the Martial Sacred Palace must pay the price. We must let them know that there's a price to pay for provoking others. Knight Sorrow said. After communicating with everyone, Knight Sorrow returned to the tent and rushed to the place where the captives were held. At this time, Lin Qingyi was talking to the captives. She said that the realm war was different from the grudge war. A loss was a loss. She told the captives to settle down and that they could go back after the realm war. Seeing that everything was stable, Knight Sorrow returned to the tent and asked Red and Blue to be on guard. He began to cultivate and study the newly advanced light of merit. Speak. The second chapter has arrived. Thank you, brother. 4. I don't know. Shui Jing unsealed yesterday's chapter. Thank you, brother. Yesterday, you gave me an essential oil and 2 strength pills. Chapter 1395. There were many things that Night Sorrow didn't need to worry about. Once he set the direction, there would be people to carry it out. Just like now, the post-war reorganization of the army was arranged by the commander and the general. Those who came to find Night Sorrow and found out that Night Sorrow was cultivating would deal with it themselves. If they couldn't deal with it themselves, they would go to the city lord's mansion to seek advice from the heaven masters. He's still cultivating at this time. It seems like there's a lot of room for improvement, Red Emperor said. He came back to participate in the war right after he advanced, so there's still a lot of room for improvement, Qing Emperor said. He has already risen and his momentum is unstoppable. He can protect himself in front of a heaven master just after he advanced. After he stabilizes and improves his will, his strength will be no different from a heaven master, Sima Tianqing said. So when he's cultivating, there are some things that we have to deal with. We have to support him fully. Precious Fragrance Heaven looked at Datura and said. She admired Datura's foresight. He was able to discover that Night Sorrow was a talent at such an early stage. Also, everyone get ready. After the situation stabilizes, Night Sorrow will lead people to counterattack. We have to deal with some auxiliary problems, Qing Emperor said to the group. Night Sorrow was cultivating the immortal golden body in the tent. It was to integrate the light of virtue into his body and circulate it with the energy in his body. In the past, he couldn't cultivate it because he didn't have enough light of virtue. Now that his light of virtue was abundant, he could naturally do it. After 6 days, Night Sorrow completed the integration of the light of virtue and the energy in his body. The true immortal golden body was cultivated. Walking out of the tent, Night Sorrow nodded to Hong Yi and Lan Ning. Thank you for your hard work these few days. Hong Yi and Lan Ning were king. In the past, they were experts. However, they couldn't keep up with the pace now. It wasn't that they couldn't do it, but the level that Night Sorrow was facing was getting higher and higher. Therefore, they were now Night Sorrow's bodyguards and followers. After exiting the tent, Night Sorrow went to the place where the captives were. When Night Sorrow arrived, Lin Qingyi appeared. Everyone is here. I've already told them to stay here for now. Those who are injured will heal, and those who are not will cultivate. It's not easy to be a soldier. Life and death battles are inevitable in a world war. Once the war is over, it's a different matter. I'm a soldier, so I respect every soldier. If you need anything, you can come find me, said Yishan. Looking at Night Sorrow, Lin Qingyi nodded. She now understood why the Nine Heavens Army, the #1 army in Samsara world, could still crush the martial army. It was because Night Sorrow had the heart of a soldier. Xuanji, you'll be in charge of this place. If there's a need, just satisfy it, Night Sorrow said to Jun Xuanji, who had rushed over. Jun Xuanji nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow was busy, so she had to take over these matters. Night Sorrow was now the commander-in-chief of the Allied forces. She was the military counselor of the Allied forces because she was Night Sorrow's most capable assistant. Night Sorrow went to each army and called all the commanders and generals to the commander-in-chief's tent. Although we tried our best to avoid it, there were still some losses. Those who were seriously injured need to be treated, and those who died, we need to compensate them. I will speak to the leaders of your respective forces about this, Yisaro said as he looked at the commanders and generals of the various armies. Everyone bowed to Night Sorrow. Those who could lead soldiers to war naturally loved their brothers. Night Sorrow's words struck a chord in their hearts. This is the aftermath. Besides, the world war hasn't ended, so we can't just attack the Shinwu Great World and leave when we can't win. We have to give an explanation. I'll fight. Everyone here is willing to do so, Night Sorrow said. Let's not talk about the others. The Nine Heavens Army will definitely fight, Nu Lin said. The Devil Blood Army will fight too. Later, Shishua and I will ask the Lord to fight. I believe the Lord won't have any objections, the Devil Blood Commander said. Commander, Yufeng will send a message to Master immediately. I believe he will agree, Yuan Chu Army's Yufeng said. Night Sorrow then told everyone to go back and prepare. Those who were willing to fight could gather in 7 days. After the commanders and generals left, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. He guessed that all the armies would fight. After all, no one would be willing to take a beating. After drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow went to the city lord's mansion. When he arrived, he found that all the commanders were there. Seeing Night Sorrow, all the commanders bowed to Night Sorrow. Is everyone here? Yishan opened his mouth and greeted them. Night Sorrow is here. Come and sit, Red Emperor nodded to Night Sorrow. I'm here this time because I have something to tell everyone. I'm the leader of the Realm Battle Army this time. Many of them died in battle, so I have to give them an explanation. I hope that everyone can compensate the soldiers of your respective forces. We have to respect those who died fighting for the realm battle. Yishan clasped his hands at the Heaven Masters present. Of course. They all died for their beliefs. We all understand. Sima Tianqing nodded. We can't do anything about those who died in battle. I hope that the forces of the armies can take care of the families of the soldiers who died in battle, Night Sorrow stated his request. Red Emperor, Sima Tianqing and the others nodded in agreement to Night Sorrow's request. Night Sorrow's request was reasonable. In fact, even if Night Sorrow didn't say it, everyone would do the same. It was just that there might be a difference in strength. Also, they're all here to request for battle. What do you think? Qing Emperor said. This depends on the situation of each force. Those who can and are willing to fight should fight. Those who are unsuitable or unwilling should rest and recuperate. Master, disciple and the Nine Heavens Army must fight, Night Sorrow said. Forever and ever. Master will support your decision. Qing Emperor smiled and nodded. He knew that Night Sorrow was insistent. Night Sorrow, you're too distant with your thoughts. What is a realm war? A realm war is a war for everyone in the world. Some people don't work together because of their differences. We'll definitely fight. Chiu He, before the realm war ends, the Sima Residence's army must cooperate with Night Sorrow's deployment. Even if we have to fight to the last man, Sima Tianqing said to the commander of the Sima Residence, Chiu He. Night Sorrow, our Blackfiend Valley naturally has nothing to say. If you want to climb a mountain of blades, we won't hesitate at all, Li Tianba said. Red Emperor also stood up and expressed his attitude. Night Sorrow bowed to Li Tianba and Red Emperor. A few years ago, because I wasn't calm enough, I hurt the two of you. Night Sorrow will pay for it. Night Sorrow knew that he wasn't wrong. Sometimes, he wasn't wrong, but he needed to be humble. If he could untie the knot in other people's hearts, he didn't mind paying a little price. After all, he killed someone else's son. Speak. Third Watch. Chapter 1396. It's all in the past. I can't blame you. This is fate. I didn't teach you well. You don't have to take it to heart, said the Red Emperor. Forget it. Let's not talk about it anymore. We're friends now. It'll hurt our relationship if we talk about the past. The Red Emperor looked at his two sons and said, Night Sorrow, you're wronging yourself by saying this today. You have the potential to be the leader of a force. I'm very happy to hand the Red Emperor's army to you. Tianqin, Chihuahua, let's not talk about the past. Cooperate well in battle. Understand. Akatsuki and Chiwa nodded. They knew that it was all in the past. Their father had let it go completely. They also knew that Chidu deserved it the most. After settling things, Knight Sorrow left the city lord's mansion and returned to the military tent. Knight Sorrow had just sat down when Yufeng arrived. Yufeng told him about Lord Yuandao's attitude. Lord Yuandao's order was that the Yuanchu army would listen to Knight Sorrow's orders until the end of the realm war. New Lin, the Yuanchu army is quite far from Yuandao. It might be inconvenient to resupply them. Take a portion of our 9 Heavens Army supplies. Medicine and resources must be provided, said Knight Sorrow to New Lin, who was also in the tent. Commander Knight, you're too polite. We'll bring the resources. There won't be any shortage. The Yuanchu army will accept your kindness, said Yufeng with a bow. After settling matters, Knight Sorrow went for a walk with Datura, who came to accompany him. Lord Yujun and Qin Yen ran home. They want to tell their mother and aunt about their father's might, said Datura with a smile. Hashtag the only genuine article, the others are all thieves. Version, they're still children. They'll still be children when they grow up. My original body has been cultivating. When it can't cultivate at a high speed, I'll come out. We have to have children too, said Knight Sorrow with a smile. Okay, we want children too. Datura blushed. In fact, Datura had long thought about this. She wanted to give birth to a child for Knight Sorrow. I can feel that your aura has changed. There's a sense of peace within the righteousness. I'm not the only one who feels this way. When you left the city lord's mansion earlier, everyone else said the same thing, Datura said to Knight Sorrow. I've gained a lot from this realm war. In the reincarnation great world, I've become a sage of merit. I've also fused the golden light of merit into my body. You know how I cultivate my body. After fusing with the golden meritorious light, I already have an indestructible meritorious golden meritorious body. Because I cultivate the leakless body, if people don't look carefully, they won't be able to detect it, Knight Sorrow explained. What is a virtuous sage? It meant that he had obtained the approval of the heavenly Tao. His words and actions carried the aura of the heavenly Tao, and he carried a majestic aura. Very good. Becoming a virtuous saint through virtue. A virtuous saint from a major world is incredible, Mandela said as she looked at Yishang. Ah Luo, I feel that I'm not far from becoming a virtuous grand sage, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Good things should be shared with family. Then hurry up. A virtuous grand sage is even more powerful. He can crush king even without cultivation. Datura looked at Knight Sorrow excitedly. Can you hurry up? You can't do it intentionally. Letting nature take its course is in accordance with the heavenly Tao, Knight Sorrow said. Datura nodded. She also understood that doing good on purpose was just a small act of kindness. It wasn't considered much merit. Datura told Knight Sorrow to be careful in the future. He had destroyed Prince Xianhu's original body, which meant that he had destroyed Prince Xianhu's future. It was equivalent to destroying one of the great leaders of the Xianwu dynasty. I know. Ah Luo, you should be careful too. Datura Chinensis is a hidden danger. This hidden danger must be dealt with. Knight Sorrow was worried that Datura Chinensis would appear again. After all, she was an opponent who hid in the dark and could strike a fatal blow at any time. I know. The most difficult thing about her is that she can hide her aura. Great leaders can't sense her aura. The last time she came, we couldn't sense it. Now, it's difficult for her to do anything to the two of us, so we have to be careful of our family's safety, Datura said. Before you married me, you didn't have any weaknesses. Now, your weakness is me and our family. Now that I've entered the monarch realm, it's difficult for her to do anything to me. I think the only place she can do anything to is our family, Night Sorrow said. My clone is in the mysterious sky world, cultivating in an inn not far from the teleportation formation. She can't threaten Seven Night City. I'll know when she reaches the mysterious sky world, Datura said. She had already thought about Night Sorrow's worries. Ah Luo, switch between the original body and the clone. The original body will go there and the clone will stay outside. The original body must be safe. We don't have children yet, Night Sorrow said. Didn't I tell you? My original body and clone are similar. As long as your original body comes out, both my original body and clone can do anything. The clone can't have a partner. The heavenly law doesn't work on me. In other words, if you marry me, it's the same as marrying two wives. Of course, their minds and souls are the same, Datura said. I understand. Does the same thing happen to Datura Chinensis? I don't know if it was the clone or the original body last time. Night Sorrow exhaled. Datura was strong, which meant that Datura Chinensis also had heaven-defying abilities. It's not the same. Datura Chinensis doesn't have a branch, so she doesn't have a clone. She only has the original body. However, she has some special skills that I don't have. She knows the art of seduction. Last time, you were alerted, so she didn't have the chance to use it. Also, she has strong life-saving skills. You have to pay attention to all of these. Most importantly, don't impersonate me to trick you, Datura said. You and I are husband and wife. Who would impersonate you? Even if they look exactly the same, there's still a lack of feelings. If I mistook you as my wife, wouldn't I be letting you down? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Not necessarily. I have too many similarities with Datura Chinensis. If she's more cautious, it'll be really difficult for you to tell, Datura reminded Night Sorrow. I understand. I know where her nest is. We'll go take a look later. If she's still there, we'll get rid of her once and for all, Night Sorrow said. I'll listen to you. For the time being, we have to win this realm war first. The Zhongwu dynasty and Battle God Palace have to be dealt with. We have to beat them into submission. Murderous intent appeared in Datura's eyes. She was gentle and considerate in front of Night Sorrow, but after suppressing a region for so many years, the domineering and murderous intent on her body were already ingrained in her bones. I still have to tell Master and the others that we can't just send an army. If the other Heaven Masters take action, our armies won't be able to return, Night Sorrow said. Datura told Night Sorrow that on this issue, the Qing Emperor and the other Heaven Masters had already reached a consensus. The primordial Heaven Master had also informed them and agreed to send a clone to fight. After hearing Datura's words, Night Sorrow was relieved. The Zhongwu dynasty was very strong, but so what? He wanted to fight the realm war to the end. Speak. The fourth update has arrived. Today's update completed. Chapter 1397. Deterrence. Night Sorrow needed a deterrence. Without the deterrence and restraint of the Heaven Masters, the other party's Heaven Masters would have no scruples. With the Heaven Masters of the world of reincarnation, Lord Shenhu and the others would not easily make a move. Of course, it would be useless even if they did. With the support of Qing Emperor and the others, Night Sorrow felt that there was no problem. Now, the army is reorganized and assembled. If there is no problem, we can go to war, Night Sorrow said. Go out and fight. We must make a name for ourselves. We must let everyone know that the Nine Heavens army is not to be trifled with. We must let everyone know the name Night Sorrow, Datura said. Night Sorrow smiled and shook his head. He did not care about personal fame because he did not lack anything. After chatting with Datura for a while, Knight Sorrow returned to the commander's tent. "Commander, when are we going to war?" Jun Xuanji asked. "After the army is reorganized, we will go to the Shenwu Great World. I don't have a map, so I can't plan tactics and strategies. So, we must first fight our way in and then send out scouts to collect information," Knight Sorrow said. "We can send out scouts now," Jun Xuanji said. "Your Highness, I will bring a secret guard to scout." "This may save a lot of time," Summer City, who had been sitting on the side, said. Summer City, Xian Daozi, and Sheng Wanhong were all with Knight Sorrow. "Okay. Xuanji, go to the Angry Lin army and gather a team of scouts. Go with Uncle Xia and the others. The Nine Heavens army must guard the teleportation portal. I will go too." After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow made a decision. Once the scouts entered, the war would begin. If the scouts were caught or met with an accident, the location of the teleportation portal would be easily discovered. So, once the war began, the teleportation portal must be guarded. Forever Free/CPJ. After making his decision, Knight Sorrow led the Nine Heavens army to teleport to the Shenwu Great World. The teleportation array that Xian Daozi had set up was located in a remote mountain range in the Shenwu Great World. Knight Sorrow had the Nine Heavens Legion set up camp in a defensive position. After arranging the army's base, Knight Sorrow set up the command tent. Not long after it was done, the teleportation portal flashed. The Qing Emperor and the other big shots all appeared. "Knight Sorrow, if you have made a decision, you should tell everyone how dangerous it is for you to bring your men here," Misty Rain said. "Mistress, I know I was wrong," Knight Sorrow said with a smile. "You. Let's not talk about you anymore. Go do your thing. We'll find another place to camp," Qing Emperor said. Knowing that Knight Sorrow was leading his men to the Shenwu Great World, the big shots followed him without hesitation. Now, Knight Sorrow's importance to the Reincarnation Great World had surpassed the big shots. He was now the commander of the Reincarnation Great World's coalition army, the #1 person under the big shots. Knight Sorrow was the #1 person under the big shots. The title of the strongest monarch was not given by himself. It was recognized by everyone. If something happened to Knight Sorrow, the Reincarnation Great World's momentum would fall to the bottom. In fact, Knight Sorrow's fame was not only in the Reincarnation Great World and the Shenwu Great World, but also in the Xuanhuan Great World. Tang Bo, Tang Xian, and Tang Yi were all very excited. Everyone should be like Knight Sorrow. "His heroism and boldness make my blood boil," Tang Bo said excitedly. "That's because he has the strength. Without strength, how can he be heroic? He will be destroyed by others," Tang Yi said with a smile. "This is a realm war. We can't take part in it. Otherwise, I really want to fight with him." "That's what men should do," Tang Bo said with some yearning. "What's wrong with being a woman?" "Brother, you're wrong." Tang Yi was a little unwilling. Among the 3 siblings, Tang Yi was the youngest, but she had the highest cultivation talent. She was the first one to reach the monarch realm. It's a slip of the tongue," Tang Bo said with a smile. "Every war is accompanied by the rise of elites. This is the usual practice. However, not everyone has the opportunity. Without strength, you will be easily chopped into pieces," Tang Jianfeng said. Tang Bo and the other 2 nodded. They could understand Tang Jianfeng's words. Times create heroes. If you don't have that talent, then it's useless. Looking at his confused children, Tang Jianfeng added. "Father, what do you think of this realm war?" Tang Yi asked. "If nothing goes wrong, Shenwu Great World will lose," Tang Jianfeng said. Then, Tang Jianfeng analyzed the situation and the current advantages and disadvantages for his children. The strongest monarch and the strongest army were in the Reincarnation Great World. If the Heaven Masters didn't take part and didn't make any major mistakes, the reincarnation Great World would win. As for the Heaven Masters, the reincarnation Great World wasn't afraid. Knight Sorrow was born in a small world. He has commanded many realm wars. In addition, he led the Qing Emperor's army in the reincarnation Great World many times. He is very talented in this aspect. He won't make any low-level mistakes. I think the most important thing is the battle between the Heaven Masters. They are the ones who can decide the outcome of the realm war, Tang Yi said. If the Shinwu Great World's Heaven Masters were confident, they would have taken part in the battle in the reincarnation Great World. Lord of Heaven God who was suppressed by the Dark Dominator. Blood Emperor Sandalwood completely suppressed their second Lord, Lord of Heaven Origin who. Therefore, they didn't have the confidence to take part in the battle. Lord of Heaven Yuan Chu and the Qing Emperor are the best among the Heaven Masters. Battle requires strength, Tang Jianfeng said. Lord of Heaven God who was slapped in the face this time. He initiated the realm war but was beaten back. If he loses the realm war, he will be embarrassed, Tang Bo said. They have already lost all their dignity. It's best if we win, but it doesn't matter if we lose. If they are cowards, the reincarnation Great World will kill them. After all, no one wants to start a battle between Heaven Masters, Tang Jianfeng said. That was the truth. Fights between Heaven Masters were usually due to enmity and to snatch fortuitous encounters. Although the outcome of the realm war was important, it wasn't to the extent that they had to fight to the death. Knight Sorrow led the 9 Heavens army into the Shinwu Great World. The other armies received the news and entered as well. Knight Sorrow's military order was for all the soldiers to cultivate the joint attack array as soon as possible. This way, they could avoid losses when the battle started. Knight Sorrow's philosophy was to put people first. He didn't want to suffer any unnecessary losses. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow went to the tent of the Heaven Masters. Now, the Heaven Masters were very relaxed. There was a big tea table in the middle. They were all sitting and chatting. There were extra chairs, which were Knight Sorrow's seat. In other words, Knight Sorrow had a seat at this level. Knight Sorrow wasn't a Heaven Master, but he had the strength of a Heaven Master. Sit down and drink some tea. Make the arrangements. Someone will do it, Lord of Heaven Precious Fragrance said. Thank you, Heavenly Lord. Knight Sorrow is here. I have something to tell everyone. Leave the army to me, and I don't want to see any of my brothers fall. So, there are some things that I need everyone's support for, Knight Sorrow said as he sat down. Speak. First watch. Chapter 1398. Just say it. As long as we can do it, it's not a problem. Sima Tianqing said. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord who just arrived nodded. Everyone, take out your best healing and life-saving resources and give them to your armies. I can guarantee that you won't lose out, because I'll snatch back all the resources that you've used up, Knight Sorrow said, revealing the purpose of his trip. Knight Sorrow, you are a cultivator of the body of merit. You even do things like robbing. Red Emperor looked at Knight Sorrow in surprise. What's wrong with robbing? I am a cultivator of the world of reincarnation. The Shinwu Great World has a grudge with me. If I have the chance to cut their flesh, I will naturally do it. Knight Sorrow said. Go. Red Emperor, your news is outdated. Knight Sorrow has already become a saint in the world of reincarnation. Datura said with pride because that was her husband. A body of merit had appeared in the world of reincarnation before. However, it did not become a saint because its cultivation level was too low. It had been annihilated in the long river of history. A saint of merit in the world of reincarnation. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord looked at Knight Sorrow in surprise. Yes, it happened a while ago. I was quite lucky. Knight Sorrow said. It should have happened after you killed Prince Jean, whose true body, right? For ordinary cultivators, the world war gives them luck. You have the foundation of a body of merit, so the benefits are great. Sima Tianqing said with envy in his eyes. Becoming a saint of merit was too amazing. Let's not change the topic. Can you take out the best resources and give them to your respective armies? It's a matter of life and death. I hope to bring them all back. Knight Sorrow brought up the issue of resources again. Of course, it's not a problem. You don't need the resources. They are given to our own people. There's nothing wrong with that. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said. The others did not disagree. Thank you for your support. As a token of appreciation, I'll serve you some good tea. Knight Sorrow took out the heart-cleansing tea and brewed a pot. The group of Titans who were drinking the tea were full of praise. Heart-cleansing tea was very rare and was cultivated by Chin Chin. Knight Sorrow, give me 2 packets of these later, Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said bluntly. No problem. I'll give everyone 2 packs later, Knight Sorrow said. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord gave Knight Sorrow a thumbs up and said, impressive. That's all there is to it. I'll leave you to it. Knight Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands before leaving the tent. Qing Shangjuan, these 2 disciples of yours are really a legend in the world of reincarnation. The cultivator with the body of merit who appeared last time died. He died because he attained the body of merit too late and reached the end of his lifespan. However, Knight Sorrow is different. He's more than 100 years old and he's like a baby. Who dares to look at him like a baby now? Excluding his relationship with Datura, we're all on the same level, Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said. Speaking of which, I'm ashamed. Actually, I've only imparted him one absolute art. I really didn't teach him anything else. It's because he's hardworking enough. The heavens are strong, and the gentleman strives to improve himself. The terrain is good, and the gentleman is virtuous. He really did it, the Lotus Emperor said. Master, you're also a cultivator of the heart and morals. Your ideals are much deeper than Junior Brother's, and you've been cultivating for countless years before him. Why did Junior Brother become a virtuous body and a virtuous saint, but you didn't? Sandalwood asked. This was something he couldn't understand. She was puzzled. It's all because I know what merit is. No matter what you do, it's considered intentional. Even if you deliberately do great good, it's still a small good. Your starting point isn't recognized by the heavenly Tao. However, your Junior Brother is different. He does things according to his nature. Therefore, his actions are most in line with the heavenly Tao. It's mainly because he has a good foundation that he was recognized by the heavenly Tao early on, Qing Emperor explained. To put it bluntly, the law of heavenly Tao likes your Junior Brother but doesn't like your master and the others. It can even be said that it doesn't even look straight at them. That's roughly what it means. Heavenly Monarch Yufei translated the words for him. A good foundation is just like how everyone likes a good-looking person when he's young. Even if he's ugly, no one likes him when he does good deeds. That's what it means. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord said with a smile. Brother Yuan Dao, I don't have anything to say about your explanation. Qing Emperor was speechless at Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord's explanation. What's wrong? You don't let people talk about your ugly looks. Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord took a sip of tea and said. Hearing Yuan Dao Heavenly Lord's words, everyone laughed. Although they were usually in the same great world, they rarely had such interactions. Then, everyone discussed and decided to split into 2 groups. One group would guard this place, while the other would follow Knight Sorrow and the 9 Heavens Army. Everyone knew that Knight Sorrow and the 9 Heavens Army would definitely face the most difficult challenges. The teleportation formation here also had to be guarded. There was a law of war that forbade the destruction of interrealm teleportation formations. However, the teleportation formation was used for war purposes. It was a strategic teleportation formation and could be easily attacked. While waiting for information, Knight Sorrow would walk around the various armies every day to see how everyone was cultivating the joint attack formation. In addition, the various forces had already sent the best resources to the armies. Knowing that this was Knight Sorrow's request, all the commanders and generals were very grateful. This was because rare resources were the foundation of a force. Under normal circumstances, they would not be used. On this day, Knight Sorrow was about to go to the Nine Heavens Army's God-slaying territory to see his brothers when Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan came. Father, a spatial world has appeared around the Nine Regions world. It is now connected to the Nine Regions world. My sister and I plan to go in and explore it. However, Mother and aunts want us to get your permission first, Yi Yujun said. I know. The world is very big. I don't have time to investigate the situation. It might be dangerous inside, Knight Sorrow said. Half a month ago, Knight Sorrow's clone in the Heaven Sealing Palace knew about this. Because he was busy with the Realm War, he did not pay attention to this matter. Father, you've been roaming the world since you were a young man. Although it has something to do with your situation back then, it's also inseparable from your determination. It's also inextricably linked to your achievements today. So, Father, you should let us go, Yi Yujun said. Ah Luo, what do you think? Knight Sorrow looked at Datura in the tent and said. Your philosophy is that it is enough to fight for yourself. You can give your family a stable life. However, the children also need their own world. Although I may take responsibility for saying this, I am still their aunt, Datura said. Aunts, this is my own choice. Even if something happens, I am grateful for your support, Yi Yujun said. The worlds around the Nine Regions world are places I should go, Knight Sorrow muttered. Speak. Second update. Thank you to Yijuan Hua and ZZZZZ for unblocking yesterday's chapter. Thank you to 4 brothers for your support. Brothers, take a break and continue. Chapter 1399. Go to the Heaven Sealing Palace and get the concentric crystal from me. That way, you can talk to Aunt Luo at any time. I will be the first to know if anything happens. Go. Knight Sorrow said to Yi Yujun. Thank you, Aunt Luo. Thank you, Father. Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan bowed. Perhaps I was wrong in the past. I want to be a good father, but you have your own path. I will not stand in your way. Go. Be careful. If anything happens, talk to Aunt Luo. If there is any danger, don't hide it. I will help you immediately. Knight Sorrow said. Then, Yi Yujun and Yi Qingyan left. Knight Sorrow, why did the spatial world suddenly appear? Datura was confused. The Nine Regions world developed rapidly because of my cultivation, so many variables have appeared. However, it is not a big problem. Because I have the origin of the Supreme World, some of the world's rules are ineffective against me. Only King can enter, but not me. Therefore, if Yujun and Qingyan are in danger, I can enter to help, Knight Sorrow said. Many spatial worlds restricted the entry of kings for self-protection. However, Knight Sorrow was the master of the Supreme World's origin. He could suppress some of the spatial world's rules. After his son and daughter left, Knight Sorrow went to take a look at the God-slaying team. The members of the God-slaying team were improving rapidly, especially the talented ones. Long Jin had already become a mid-level king. There were also a few half-step kings. The rest were all advancing towards the high-level Holy King. The members of the God-slaying team were soldiers in the Nine Heavens army. However, because they were improving, Nu Lin and the other generals did not restrict their freedom. They would often return to the time acceleration treasure in the city in the sky to cultivate. After that, they would train in actual combat in the army. Therefore, the speed and stability of their cultivation were not a problem. After asking some questions and giving some pointers, Night Sorrow returned to the main tent. Not long after Night Sorrow returned to the main tent, Summer City and a few secret guards returned. "Uncle Summer, did you find anything?" he asked after asking Hong Yi to make tea. "I found something. This is the map of the Shenwu Great World that I bought in the city." Summer City took out a map and handed it to Night Sorrow. Yi Shang took the map and looked at it. He found that the map was very detailed, and the division of the factions was very clear. Yi Shang observed the positions of the Zhanwu dynasty, Martial Sacred Hall, and Poison King Valley. He discovered that the three forces were rather close to each other and seemed to be guarding each other. Yi Shang felt that they could deal with Battle Sacred Hall first because it was closer to the mountain range. The second day after Summer City came back, Xian Daozi and Shang Guanhong also came back. They went out to gather information. Summer City looked for the map and the distribution of the factions, as well as the situation of each city. Xian Daozi and Shang Guanhong brought people to gather information. Yi Shang took a look at the information and found that the Martial Sacred Hall wasn't that hard to fight. The Martial Sacred Hall had two overlords. One was the Hall Master, who was Sha Chongtian's master, and the other was the Grand Elder, Martial God Shiyang. The headquarters of the Martial Sacred Hall was located at the Martial Sacred Mountain, and the main city was the Divine Hall City. Other than the Palace Master and Martial God Shiyang, the strongest people were Sha Chongtian and the three Palace Protector Elders. They were all high-level monarchs. After some calculations, Night Sorrow decided to take action. He had a high chance of winning. After that, Night Sorrow embedded a teleportation crystal in the interrealm teleportation array and set off with Xia Qing. The others wanted to follow, but Night Sorrow didn't. "Your Highness, they're dead for sure." Xia Qing, who was following Yi Chang, was very excited. He knew Yi Chang's battle strategy and knew that Martial Sacred Hall would unknowingly fall for it and suffer heavy losses. "Yes. If everything goes well, we can destroy Martial Sacred Palace," Night Sorrow said. Yi Shang did not have a good impression of the Martial Sacred Hall. Shiyang Martial God was very shameless. Moreover, without the approval of the Martial Sacred Hall's Hall Master, the Martial Sacred Hall would not follow the Zhanwu dynasty as a lackey. The only person Yi Shang approved of was Sha Chongtian, who was a man and very courageous. "After destroying Martial Sacred Palace, the ones we need to kill are the Zhanwu dynasty and Poison King Valley," Summer City said excitedly. Night Sorrow and Summer City were small targets. They wouldn't attract the attention of the big shots. A Heaven Master would only be able to sense other Heaven Master great leaders. The feeling of rejection or the feeling of the same origin between perfected willpower was very strong. Night Sorrow's willpower also had power. However, it wasn't perfect and wouldn't be detected. In addition, Night Sorrow had the secretive true body, which could seal all his aura. When they arrived at a more secluded area of Martial Sacred Mountain, Night Sorrow set up a large-scale illusion array. He then set up a teleportation formation and teleported back to the stronghold in the Blue Shadow Mountain range. He called the commanders of the various armies and asked Jun Xuanji to arrange for everyone to teleport. Then, Night Sorrow went to the main tent of the big shots and explained his strategy. "Yi Shang, according to your estimation, if we can suppress the other two Heaven Masters, then this battle with Martial Sacred Hall will be a battle of annihilation." Sima Tianqing asked Yi Shang. "That's right. As long as the Sky Pillar Giants don't interfere, we can easily topple the Martial Sacred Hall. After the battle, the Martial Sacred Hall will only have two giants without an army," Yi Shang said confidently. "It's good to take them by surprise. If their two big shots want to make a move, then kill them together. In the future, there will be no more Martial Sacred Palace in the Shenwu Great World," Yuandao Heavenly Lord said. Also, after the battle with Marshall's Sacred Palace, we have to move quickly. Our next target is Poison King Valley. We will use the same strategy to quickly deal with Poison King Valley, Night Sorrow said. Why not the Zhanwu dynasty? Red Emperor asked. It's easy to change the battle with the Tiger dynasty. They originally had 3 emperors. Including the traitorous Thunderfire Heaven Monarch, they have 4 big shots. They might resist and the battle situation won't be too stable. Rather than that, it's better to expand the battle results and deal a heavy blow to the 2 forces that have enmity with us first. This way, we can expand our advantage. Night Sorrow explained the reason for his choice. I support it. What do you all think? Qing Emperor looked at the group and asked. No problem. It was decided from the beginning that the battle will be commanded by Night Sorrow. Then, we will follow Night Sorrow's plan. Even if such a decision wasn't made, this strategy is the most suitable, Sima Tiancheng said. Li Tianba and Red Emperor nodded to express their support. Speak. Third Watch. Chapter 1400. I have already set up the teleportation portal and the army has already started the teleportation. Everyone, don't move first as they will discover us. I will go to the vicinity of Poison King Valley to set up the teleportation portal. Then, I will come back to bring everyone there and start the massacre. Night Sorrow told us what to do next. Very good. Next, you make the arrangements. We'll fight however you want, said Yuandao Heavenly Lord. He was very impressed with Yi Shan's tactical arrangements. Since the war has started, there is no need to talk about sneak attacks. I just want to win. Also, to prevent us from losing our advantage in the final battle, it would be best if we can kill the Heaven Masters of Marshall's Sacred Hall and Poison King Valley, Night Sorrow said. Kill the Heaven Masters too. Lord of Heaven looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. This was because Night Sorrow was very different from before. He was full of fighting spirit. Why not? Didn't they start the battle of the Heaven Masters? Heavenly Lord Shin, who has made his move more than once in the Samsara Great Realm. If he can't defeat us, it means that he isn't strong enough. Now that we have a chance, we naturally have to expand our gains. That way, when we attack the Marshall dynasty, they won't be able to fight to the death even if they want to. Yi Shan explained the reason for his decision. That's right. When they attacked the reincarnation Great World, Lord of Heaven God who made his move twice. It was just that the strength he was so proud of was ineffective. Now that we have the chance to get rid of a few despicable people, we should expand our advantage. Datura supported Night Sorrow's point of view. Even if Night Sorrow's point of view was wrong, she would support it unconditionally. It's decided. Night Sorrow, go and make the arrangements. Lord of Heaven said. Night Sorrow cupped his hands to everyone in the tent and went to make the arrangements. The analysis of the situation and the trend is on point. If we don't get rid of the Heaven Masters, when we attack the Zhanwu dynasty, they will have a large number of Heaven Masters. They might fight to the death with us. If we get rid of a few first, we will have a huge advantage. When our army attacks the Zhanwu dynasty, they can only watch. If one wasn't strong enough, would they be able to open it? At that time, we will have the final say in how we fight. Yuandao Heavenly Lord said. Red Emperor, Datura, this king can understand how you felt when you were fighting against the Qing Emperor's imperial dynasty. Facing a commander with this kind of war command, anyone would have a headache. Sima Tianqing said with a smile. I was beaten up by my husband. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Datura said with a smile. If the realm war goes well and we win, the origin of the world of samsara will be rewarded by the heavenly way. We will also be blessed by the origin of the world of samsara. The benefits will be immeasurable. The Qing Emperor said. When the world's origin rewards him based on his contributions, the one who contributed the most is still him. The commander of the Alliance army, the strategist, and the key person who decided the victory. We can't compare to him. Sima Tianqing said with a smile. He didn't do it intentionally. He just wanted to win this realm war. He probably didn't even think about what he would gain. The Qing Emperor shook his head. He knew that Night Sorrow didn't have any utilitarian intentions. Night Sorrow and Summer City carefully made their way to the Poison King's Valley area. Then, they started to set up a teleportation array in the illusory array. After the teleportation array in the illusory array was connected to the one in the Martial God Palace, Night Sorrow and Summer City were teleported to the illusory array in the Martial God Palace area. Commander, you are here. Our army is ready to attack at any time, Jun Xuanji reported. Jun Xuanji reported. Nu Lin, Qiu Heat Yu Feng, and the others nodded at Yishang. They were all prepared for battle. After the battle here, we need to quickly move to the next battlefield and attack the Poison King's Valley. I want to cripple the Martial God Palace and the Poison King's Valley in this battle, Night Sorrow said to the commanders and sovereigns present. Commander, you just came from the Poison King's Valley. Nu Lin asked. That's right. After the battle here, we need to quickly teleport over and start the battle. Night Sorrow nodded. Nu Lin and the others were very excited. The next battle was revenge. In the years that Night Sorrow wasn't around, everyone had been suppressed. Now that they had a chance to release their pent-up emotions, they were naturally excited and happy. After giving the order to prepare for battle, Night Sorrow teleported back to the Blue Eagle Mountain and arrived at the Sky Master's tent. I plan to attack the Martial God Palace at night. When the time comes, everyone just needs to rush over, Night Sorrow said. Okay, no problem. Qing Emperor nodded. Everyone, teleport over after we start the battle. That way, even if their Sky Master senses it, it'll be useless. When the battle starts, they can only defend themselves. They won't have time to think of any countermeasures, Night Sorrow said. After the discussion, Night Sorrow returned to the illusion array in the Martial God Palace area and waited for the sky to turn dark. When the sky turned dark, the battle would begin. Night Sorrow was also a little excited. The next two battles would determine the direction of the world war between the two great worlds. All the legions were ready to fight at any time. Night Sorrow called the commanders of the various legions to the tent. Then, he took out a map and told everyone the areas that each legion would be responsible for. After giving the instructions, Night Sorrow put away the map and waited for the time of the final battle to arrive. When the moon rose and the stars twinkled in the sky, Night Sorrow came out of the tent and called for everyone to gather. The next battle is the most crucial one. Thank you for your hard work. Everyone, come back alive, Night Sorrow said. Commander Night, you don't have to be so polite. We know what to do, Yu Feng said. Look at the original chapter, section, okay then, let's start the battle. Xuanji, go back and inform my master and the others that the battle has begun. Night Sorrow stopped the illusion array after he finished speaking. Then, he led the Nine Heavens Legion to the core area of the Martial God Palace. That was the resource building, the area where the resources were hidden. Night Sorrow didn't say anything when someone blocked his way. He just waved his hand and killed. At that moment, the other Sky Masters who received the news also appeared. They had to pin down the two Sky Masters of the Martial God Palace. Everyone, watch this place. I'll go and kill them. Datura's body flashed and flew toward the area where he sensed the opportunity. Misty Rain and Lord of Precious Fragrance are here. The teleportation array can't be destroyed. Everyone else, start killing. The two Sky Masters of the Martial God Palace must be eliminated today, the Red Emperor said. Knight Sorrow led his men and charged toward the core area of the martial god palace. Knight Sorrow killed anyone who blocked his way with Sky Splitter. When he sensed the auras of several Sky Masters, the martial god palace master ended his cultivation and appeared in front of the pavilion. Martial god Shiyang also appeared. Shiyang, what's going on? The martial god palace master's expression was very ugly. A sneak attack. The people of the reincarnation great world are attacking us. Martial god Shiyang looked up at the sky because Datura had arrived. Speak. Fourth update. Today's update complete.